Crown Bet is back in the game, built for the big moments in racing and sport, from a name you know. Bet with Crown Bet today.
Chances are you're about to lose.
Progress. It's relentless. Earned by pushing forwards through the setbacks and the wins, all for an opportunity that others might miss. Two worlds driven by performance, guided by data, insights, and feel. It's never just a move, it's a mindset. Because better never settles.
We rejoin the action of the 2026 Aussie Millions thanks to CrownBet. You are looking right now. Thank you for your patience after the break. We are back with the action in the 25k challenge. What an event it has been. So now we are down to 16 players out of 98. This is the fun part, or the really fun part, where we can tell you that the pay structure or the payouts start at 13th. So to give you some perspective, the next 3 players won't get anything, and then we start to pay people money. So from the 12th and 13th place finishers will get 56,000 plus money all the way up the ladder. As my man Ben Blaschke, who's with me, said, everybody over 7th gets over 100 grand first prize with 652,000. So here's your feature table, Ben. Here we've now rebalanced 16 players. Let's have a bit of a refresh. Tell me what you see.
Well, we've got an interesting table. I mean, Luke Martinelli stands out to me, has had a pretty good series so far. Ran quite deep in the 5K yesterday when we came back to 26 players. I think he just fell short of the final table. Masato Yokosawa, you know, we've got and Kei Tanaka, who was on our previous feature table as well. We've got a really good contingent of Japanese here. Japanese players and Japanese media as well have been here getting quite involved, doing lots of video. And then we've got some local guys that have been making a name for themselves. Josh Hutchins, Alex Trevelyan's been around for a long time. Babana, of course, is very well known in the local scene as well. So interesting table, and we saw a lot of action before we went on our dinner break earlier.
We sure
did. A lot of action on our previous table. We saw a lot of bust outs and some pretty big pots played. So hopefully we see the same here.
Yeah, we're looking to get down to a final table. So tomorrow the final table will finalise, and then we go into, of course, day 1B of the main event of the Aussie Millions Championship. So right now we're focusing on the 25k. However, where Ben and I are sitting essentially is in the nucleus or the heart of where all the action is. On our left and right is main event, and that is 10,500. So we had 198 players registered today, which is huge for day 1A. And we're now starting to talk about numbers in the main event, you know, pushing above 700 and possibly with numbers like 8 in front of it, which is which just is the poker community saying thank you. We love the Aussie Millions and we're really glad it's back. So we rejoin the action. We've got Barney versus Masato, and they're in a pot together. Ace-8 versus 10-5, and it's a Queen-8 3 flop.
So pretty good flop for Babana.
And Masato bets out 45,000. Blinds at 20 and 40,000. Remembering now, this is where the pressure mounts. So the people at home wondering, how do I catch on to this story? What does it all mean? Well, what it really means is that the next 3 players, because they will miss out, the pressure mounts, the shorter stacks start to tighten up and try and survive. Some of the bigger, more experienced players, the bigger stacks, take advantage of that, and then the cat and mouse begins. So it looks like Barney calls the turn a 9 of spades, so pair of 8s still strong. Masato with an inside straight draw now, 2.5 million in his stack. So you can see what's happening here is, well, what I can see is Masato's got a big stack. He's trying to put pressure on Barney. And he's going to fire again. So inside straight draw, putting the pressure on the shorter stacks. This is the game. This is what happens. Doesn't have much. And Babana has the best hand, but look at the pressure. That bet would take a quarter of his stack. And we are 3 off the money. So you've got to ask yourself now, after doing all the work, 98 players, start 15, remain now 15, so we've lost a player in the moments we've been talking. we're ever so close. 2 players away. And look at this. Barney's going to call. So we're going to see a river. The pressure continues. The pot builds. 640 in the middle. The river is, oh my goodness, a jack, of course. Just like theatre and television and webcast, it just never ceases to amaze me. So Masato, he has fired on first and second streets, and now he spikes. So Babana in a bit of trouble here, although that's a very wet board, Ben. So can he get away from it?
Yeah, I think he can. I think he can now.
Depending on the bet size, right? And it's a big one.
I mean, he's got to ask himself, what does he beat when his opponent has fired every street, and the board's just got worse every single street as well.
Look at this. This is poker, in essence, pressure poker personified. You've got a move for all in. So he's just said, Masato said, Babana, if you want to call me, it's going to cost you your whole tournament life. Are you sure?
The problem is for Babana, if he's thinking about how this has played out, is why has he's folded now, but
yeah.
Now why has Yokosawa gone all in on the river?
Right.
Because shouldn't that be a little bit scary, that board now for them as well? So that basically means they're either, they've either got the 10 or they've got pretty much nothing.
Yeah, absolutely. So lots of pressure. You can hear also in the background, we've got lots of announcements going on, so forgive us with all the noise going on. We've got the main event, we've got the 25K. There's a fortune in value on the floor and so many players. We've got Josh Giddey, the NBA star, who's playing, and he's still hanging in the main event. He was on a very tough table and he's still there, so good to see. And of course, we are now only 2 players away from cash. We're nearly on the bubble, which means when we lose the next player, the tables will go hand for hand to make sure that nobody slows the play down, and each table gets the same amount of hands. As in the good old days, players used to slow the clock down, a bit of gamesmanship, but now when they balance those tables and go hand for hand, that sort of eliminates any variance.
It's funny with this, as you said, the main event in front of us, and you think about all the table draws you could have on day one, and you expect to get, you might have 1 or 2 sort of players that are familiar, but you might have a lot of, randoms or, casual players. But the table in front of us, seated left to right alongside one another, are Jared Thatcher, Malcolm Traynor and Raymond Kassam, all next to each other. And
crazy.
If you're the player on their right, you're just thinking, what did I do to deserve this?
You just hope that table breaks. You might be there all day. I must say, over the years, I've sat at some tables like that and thought the same thing. But it's a great test of your resolve, let me tell you. So Luke Martinelli with 2.3 million in chips, looking down at a Queen 10 of spades, and he looks like he's going to raise it up in the hijack. So when I say hijack, that is the position on the table.
We've got a good question on the stream. If you win a main event ticket in one of the satellites, can someone else play it if you can't make it? Now, I'm not going to answer that myself, but I will check with the Crown staff. Now, I'm pretty sure that you are able to transfer your ticket. There's a certain way you have to do it, but
there'd have to be a reason, right? A very good reason.
Yeah, don't take my word for it. Let me double check with the staff. And
yeah, let's ask Crown. Meanwhile, Barney pondering, and he folds round to Aaron. He's got 2.5 million. He's got king high, and he's in the big blind. He's going to defend. So Luke and Aaron are going to go at it. Let's have a look at the flop. Both with very similar stack sizes. Remember, 2 away from the money. The flop are very interesting. Jack 10 Jack. So Luke Martinelli striking pair of 10s, taking the lead in the hand, and he will bet. So Aaron checks. 60,000's the bet into 280, and a quick fold from Aaron. So a quick look at the leaderboard. Alex Trevelyan with the short stack at 355,000. Banapil Banana with 630, and Masato, our chip leader.
I just want to confirm to that question, Paul. I see now you said if you win one main event ticket, can someone else play? I've been told only in exceptional circumstances if you have one ticket. And I said, what entails exceptional? And I was told, exceptional. So basically something out of this world. Otherwise, you can roll it on to next year. However, as has already been answered in the chat there, of course, if you win more than one ticket, then you can sell your second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth tickets.
I am really glad you went and asked that question. So that is there has to be qualifying processes and really strong controls around that stuff, and actually Crown do that better than anybody. So there is no risk in any way of anything inappropriate. So they make sure that there's qualify every decision in or out of a tournament.
Yeah.
Lots of money at stake.
I was told that saying I can't make it is not a valid excuse. So the excuse would have to be very special circumstances, I would imagine.
Well, look at this. Babana's got pocket kings, and it's folded to him on the button. So this is where one of those situations where a short stack on the button isn't going to get a lot of credit for the hand that he's got. Let's see what he does. He's going to raise it up. He makes it 80,000. So now look at this. Aaron to his left, who he's got dominated, takes a quick look. No, lets it go. He needs some quality to be cool in that hand. Josh Hutchins with an interesting 8-4 of clubs. He looks at his stack. This is tempting for him. He thinks maybe I can defend, but little does he know the monster that he has. And he's been sucked into the pot, so the bet sizing got him in there. Let's see whether this works out for Babana or whether Hutchins can get lucky. He's well behind in this hand. The flop, a 10-6-5 flop, so a straight draw.
He's got the gut shot, got enough, I'm sure, to keep Josh interested.
Action will be on Babana. And it goes check over to Babana. Beg your pardon, Josh acted first, check. And he's going to check, so he's going to continue the trap. The turn, a jack of clubs. So when will the trap be released? He's trying to get Josh to bet. No, not falling for it. Surely now Babana can't continue checking, take more risks that... Remember, he doesn't know what he has, so he doesn't know whether he's got a piece of that or not, but Josh checking both streets. Maybe a small bet here, just to find out. Or will he take a little bit more risk to maximise? Remember, we are close to the bubble. No, he's going to bet. That looks like about 100K. It is. Now, Josh is probably posturing a little bit here. There's nowhere to go. Doesn't have anything. So we expect to fold. And that's what he does. So Babana picking up some much needed chips, climbing back up to 770. Josh at 1.9, still very healthy. 15 players remain, 2 off the money. And then we're working to that final table, which should be a Monty tomorrow, because, get this, final table Bustos, first prize is $652,000 plus. Second is 405. Third is 264. I'm being loose, there's some change in here. You can see here that Alex and Barney still got a little bit of work to do, but Alex is definitely the short stack that needs the help. 13th place, $56,000 and 450 in change. Kai Tanaka liked his game in the feature session just before this, nice and patient. Over to Luke Martinelli, 2.4 million, as Ben says, a solid player. Got quite a smooth way about him too. Raises it up to 80,000, folds around to Babana, who's been quite active of late. Looks like he's thinking about it. Perhaps slowing things down a little bit.
As I said, Paul, any two spades always looks attractive.
Either that or he's going to just take his time and fold until we're hand for hand. And around to Josh, lets it go. Alex with a 10-6. Don't think he's going to be playing. So a little bit of the fun stuff and an eventual fold. So Luke Martinelli picking up some chips. There you can see he's the most aggressive pre-flop raiser at the table, followed by Babana. So they're the standouts because the rest are kind of tight after that. Kai Tanaka, Aaron.
Craig Abernethy saying in the comments that back in 2017 when Sharan won the Aussie Millions main event, he'd been trying to sell his ticket. He'd been begging to sell his ticket, but the rules are the rules. Cannot sell your one ticket.
Yeah, there you go.
He went on to win the main event. So
that is unbelievable. That is fortuitous isn't quite the word.
Yep.
Perhaps fate. Perhaps fate. Get involved, that's what I say. Get down here. This is amazing. There's satellites every day. The numbers are momentous. There's plenty of events, great structures. You'll sit down next to a world champion, and if you get the right cards, you'll bust them. Today we lost one of the best players in the world, if not the best player in the world. Michael Mizraki busted from the main event today. So we're hoping to get him on the broadcast tomorrow. We might get a little bit lucky there. I think we will. Had some good questions for him. The grinder has been around a long time. So Masato raising it up with King Queen off suit. Round to Babana with an ace-5 of spades.
Now that's a pretty looking hand. It really is, that one.
And it looks like here, we just saw the stats pre-flop. Babana, an aggressive pre-flop player. He's got 770 in his stack. Yeah, he's not going to mess with it this time. Doesn't want to bust until the money comes. None of them do. Two players away from giving some cash away. Josh Hutchins has picked up Queen 10 of spades and disciplined fold. Round to Alex with an ace. Alex with 255,000. He is the short stack. So can he make something happen? Does he think he's ahead? Instinctively, I think you immediately look, he looks at his chips, he looks at his cards, and I think here his instincts are telling him he might be ahead, but he's not sure enough, so he's folding. And that's what you got to do. That's the thing, right? That might have been a decision changer once the bubble bursts, and that's how the differences in our game is. The decision before the money comes is different to the one after.
Yeah, I feel like that was a bit of a painful fold. I think he sort of wanted to get it in there, but he's too off the money. Yeah, day 1A of the main is going on simultaneously with the 25k, where it's actually right in front of us is the main event. We have the 25k to our right. We have the main event slightly to our left. And there's also some more main event tables out on the main floor in Echo State Room at the moment.
Yeah, the room's buzzing, that's for sure. You can see in the distance because he's quite tall. Josh Giddey still in the main event.
Of course,
Round to Yuxi. I haven't seen her play much, but formidable. Stoic. Masato with a Queen 10 offsuit, 3.1 million folding. Round to Babana, King High.
198 entries into day 1A of the main event so far. Registration still open for another hour and a half as well for day 1A. I get the impression that the Crown staff are both thrilled and terrified at the same time.
Well, this week has already exceeded expectations in terms of the response from our community of poker. It's just fantastic. The people around the country and international travellers all through Asia, some from the US, even some Europe, are all here. Babana folds round to Aaron with an ace. 2.4 million in chips in the hijack. He's going to raise it up. No surprise here. Folds around to Alex. The short stack, really putting pressure on the short stack. Doesn't like his hand at all. They're having a bit of a laugh because Alex is really just trying to make that money. Oh, they all are, like I said earlier. But Alex is under a lot of pressure now. And he's going to fold his hand. So one player to go, Kai Tanaka with 10 high. Don't think he's going to get involved. And then Luke Martinelli with 8-6 off suit, which is, well, he's sort of taking his time about it, but 2.5 million in chips, didn't get there by gambling them away. He's very cautious, so he's just going to see a flop. No raises. We're going to play some poker, he says. I'm not just going to let you off the hook. They've got almost identical stack sizes. So a weak ace versus 8-6. And the flop. King, King 5 flop. So nothing for either player there. Aaron ahead. Let's see how this plays out. Remembering there's 2 players remaining before the money. And it is check, and Aaron bets 60,000. Back over to Luke. Luke taking his time, didn't like what he saw, gets rid of it. Some chips over to Aaron. No harm, no foul. The short stack is Alex Trevelyan at 255,000, with Babana at next up at 770. Of course, Masato with over 3 million, and the leader at this table.
Okay. So if there 1 or 2 minutes now, it's okay. Okay. But if I'm counting you, I'm keeping track of my bets.
Players just going through some confirmations with the tournament staff as we get very close to paying close to $60,000. But first, we've got 2 more players to eliminate. Sounds cruel, doesn't it? But it is a cruel game sometimes. Josh Monk is in the house, and we're trying to make him audible. Normally, it's the other way around. We're not trying to make him audible. Babana with a queen 4 off suit. Taking his time. Blinds 20 and 40,000. Just a quick recap of the prize pool. The total prize pool in this tournament is $2.352 million. Quite remarkable. So we've got a soft hand for hand coming up. Danny McDonough, we've just been notified. Danny McDonough, the TD, the tournament director, has now announced that he's going to start moving into hand for hand mode, which means that players will not be able to slow the play down. This is really important. Kai Tanaka has picked up pocket kings, second best hand, starting hand in Hold'em. He's got 1.8 million. Let's see how he plays it. He's got the button. So raising the button for all those at home, when everybody's folded to you, this looks like you could raise with so many different kinds of hands. So you often get credit. Have a look at this. Pocket 9s in the small blind. Luke Martinelli. Now, he's not going to, my guess is he's not going to give Kai Tanaka a great deal of credit for a range here. So we might see a 3-bet or a re-raise, and then we might see some fun. Oh, playing cautious on the bubble. Make me a fool, he says.
Yeah, very astute call there by Luke.
Indeed, he's not taking any chances. That is kind of very cool to see, and I love it when players make me a fool. It happens so often. Let's have a look. The flop comes Jack 7-3. So Luke quickly checks across to Kai. 300,000 in the middle. Kai feeling confident, reaches for some chips, and he's going to bet. Makes it 80,000. It's not a big bet. Luke would have to think his nines are reasonably good here.
Yeah, it's not the worst flop at all for nines.
Yeah, he's going to come along for the ride. Let's have a look at the turn. Pot building to nearly $500,000. The turn is an ace of clubs. Might slow both players down. Or give them an opportunity to represent. I'm sure it might be both, actually.
Yeah, I mean, theoretically, it should help Tanaka as the opener a little more than Luke, who just called.
Both players go check, check. The river is a 5 of clubs, so it did slow them down. And now action is on Luke. Does he think his nines are good here?
Does he feel like he needs to turn him into a bluff, or?
And they both check. That's really indicative of where we're at in the tournament, isn't it? They're both choosing to not get involved and make those pots big when they don't have to. They're kind of happy just to get to the river and show down. They don't want any silliness here when you've got a stack over here with Alex being 255,000, right? Being the short stack, you don't want to mess with that. Basically, the next two players will miss out, and then the 13th player will get nearly 60 grand. That's crazy, right? That is crazy. So we're moving into soft hand for hand now. Danny's going to step in and make sure that the tables are balanced. To, you know, two tables of players must play the same amount of hands and will not give anyone an advantage in slowing down, which is huge.
Love in the chat for the Japanese players.
Action of Urbana, 770,000 under the gun, first to act, folds. Quite a lot of banter at the table, in good spirits. Josh Hutchins picks up King Queen off suit, raises it up. Alex gets out of the way. Even though he's got an ace, he's kind of waiting. He's playing very cautiously, making that work. Kai Tanaka with the ace-10 off suit. Doesn't look like he's going anywhere. Now lets it go. There's to the side of caution. Nlhe folds, round two. Duxie. Masato folds, so Josh will take it down. And 15 players remain in this 25k challenge at the 2026 Aussie Millions $25,000 buy-in challenge, day 2. Blinds are 20 and 40,000. And the next two players will go home empty-handed. Out of a field of 98, you would be pretty disappointed, to say the very least, if you were eliminated right now. And 13 others would celebrate, simply at least taking home double their buy-in, assuming they've only bought in once. There are a couple of guilty parties of buying in more than once. We allow that kind of thing.
We can't afford that sort of thing ourselves, but
We can't. Players are hand for hand now, so sometimes when you're watching the coverage and going, why aren't they dealing the cards? The reason is the other table needs to play that hand, complete that hand, then they get a signal, a thumbs up, and then they go again. They all start together. But the most exciting part, and I've always found this quite humorous is when we do lose one more player, you'll find that the audience of both tables start to converge around every hand that is big because they know how much it means to each one. So almost everybody's united in this, we've got to get to the money. And then once that happens, I think people start to relax. Really nervous tension in the room now. Meanwhile, on the other side of the tournament floor, we are packed to the rafters with the main event day one, with nearly 200 now registrations. 198 registrations on day one. Incredible, Ben. Incredible.
Yep, very, very impressive. And the room's been absolutely packed all week. Ever since we arrived, it's just been a real buzz. Satellites running with massive fields.
We're going to run the clock though, so if both tables finish in under 3 minutes,
You can see now all of the Crown staff coming in, making sure that hand for hand, Danny and Dan there. Dan and Harold, the masterminds, are bringing the Aussie Millions back to life after 6 long years. And that journey has really been quite an effort. It's not an overnight thing to turn the Aussie Millions back on again, let alone to surpass expectations like this. It has exploded. And Dan and Harold were convinced and had great instincts to say, if we get this right, the community will embrace it. They have been emphatic in their response. The players are just so happy from every level. The beginners who have never played an Aussie Millions to the intermediates that are aspiring champions, and then the champions themselves. The smile on Joe's face when this is his home. I know he's won so much, with the World Series and the WPT 5 Diamond and many other things, but really when the Aussie Millions turns back on, it's the biggest tournament, one of the biggest tournaments in the world in his backyard. So he was very, very happy. And now you've got some more Hashims to worry about, not just Joe and Tony. There's Anthony, I can see in the distance, is playing as well. I think we might have 2 of the boys for the main, which is great. Then, of course, you've got the Grinder, who turned up and unfortunately has busted in day 1 of the main event.
Van Marcus is playing tomorrow.
Oh, I'm looking forward to that, especially after today's coverage. It was great to see Van look, you build up such affection and relationships over so long, and I haven't seen a lot of these players, Ben, in some time, because the Aussie Millions lay dormant and, poker had to sort of sit back through a pandemic, a couple of international war conflicts and things like that. And I don't say any of that lightly, and we're still living in a little bit of that craziness, hoping the world will just stop getting silly and start acting a little bit more normal. Forgive me, that sounds condescending, but that's just how I feel. But the Aussie Millions has certainly been something I think the players have just gone and embraced and said, thank you so much, Dan and Harold. We owe you a debt of gratitude, so we're going to turn up and we're going to max out all the fields and stress you out a bit in a different way. But, gee, we're all excited about it. So now, hand for hand, you can see the play and how it works and how it slows down and how the players are all basically paying attention to every single hand on both tables. Takes a while, good structure, so players take their time picking their spots. Masato, the big stack, 3 million plus, picks up an ace and basically just says, I'm going to put enough chips in to put Babana all in because he's a short stack, and he quickly folds. Alex Trevelyan still short stack with 6.5 big blinds. Babana's got 17 big blinds, so about 700k. Is pretty good at the moment. You can just sense, Ben, they're all trying to stay out of trouble.
Yeah, and Masato, they're just taking advantage of that, making sure that there can be no speculative calls of that shove at all.
Can hear all the noise on the floor, players crossing over between hand-for-hand play.
I enjoyed today as I was walking back from the break, running into a few people, I haven't seen for a while, and hearing all their bad beat stories. So you know you're at the Aussie Millions when
that starts there.
you're hearing all the stories. Cheers out to Lawrence Hall for that.
And one of the things we haven't talked about at all is the fact that the calendar has shifted, because the Aussie Millions was traditionally in sort of February, and now, you know, it was smack bang in the middle of the Grand Prix and the tennis and all that sort of stuff. So it was, whilst it was an unbelievable time of the year to have it, it was also competing with a lot. Now it's shifted, and I think that to a more available time slot to people. That's the sense people are giving.
Look, from Crown's perspective, it was a logical business decision. I know that they agonised over for a long time about what time of year to bring the Aussie Millions back. I know there's a lot of support to bring it back in its traditional slot, because we know a lot of people would come out here and play the Aussie Millions and go to the Australian Open and do all the summer Melbourne stuff. But you know, the hotels here at Crown were already full because there was so much going on. So, you know, one of the benefits for Crown of having it at this time of year is that the hotel wasn't so full. So why not have the Aussie Millions here?
It is now, right? It is now.
It's certainly full this week. So, you know, I know that, you know, some people might think back to the, you know, January time slot, but it makes a lot of sense from Crown's perspective.
Yeah. I'm happy either way.
Well, look, you live here anyway, don't you, Paul?
I
So
sure do.
It doesn't affect you.
And that's a part of the reason why I'm so happy the Aussie Millions is back. When it's in your backyard, and you get all these players travelling from all over the world to come here, and it's in your hometown, it just feels like you've taken that for granted. But these players have really shown up. Action on Alex Trevelyan, the short stack. Being very patient. Having a good long think about it. We are hand for hand, so there's actually no sense in time wasting. And he folds. Kai Tanaka, pocket fives. Just sort of propped up in his chair a little bit, so it looks like he's a little bit keen.
This really is an interesting time for Alex, isn't it? Because, I mean, we're on a stone-cold bubble now. Now it really is about survival.
Yeah, this is it. One more player, ladies and gentlemen. We are one player away. We'll start giving money away. Who's going to be? I mean, this is quite a bubble. This is a $56,000 bubble. So the next player will always be classed as unlucky, whether they're the favourite or not. So Josh Hutchins has picked up Ace-King and just called. Such is the caution of the style of play. The people are keeping the pots reasonably small, trying to control the bets so that they don't get out of hand. And it goes check, check. The turn and ace. So Josh now taking the lead in this hand. Josh with 1.9 million in chips. Kai Tanaka with 2, so very close to each other in chip sizing. There's a bet and a call here.
We can't accommodate anything like that.
60,000, keeping the pots small. You can sense that, and the river's a 10. So Josh will take the hand down. The question is, will it cost him any more? It's a very, very quick check, check, and he takes the pot. So Luke Martinelli here with aggression, lots of aggression, and of course at times when play slows down and players are very tight, the more aggressive players take advantage of that, because these blinds are really good earnings, dead money in the pot waiting to happen, and no one's going to grab it. So the most aggressive is going to profit quite a bit unopposed.
Yeah, that's right, especially on the bubble where, you know, the short stakes in particular, are very aware. I mean, it's going to take a monster hand for Babana or even Alex to want to put their chips in the middle.
Yeah.
They're happy to fold for now, try and lock up that 56,450 and then go from there.
So you can see Danny there going from table to table. There was a bit of a competition going on, or a bit of an assumption that we could guess how many steps Danny does in one day. And I don't know if we should let him include the steps between the hand-for-hand tables, because they're extra. He actually looked straight back at me and said, "Does that count? Do I have to count the days where I run?" Can you imagine my face? There you see, that's a really good indication. I know it's crazy, right, to see a webcast where players are looking at a poker table in the distance, but that is actually what it is like when it's most tense. So one player, right, just to paint the picture, 98 players began, I beg your pardon, 14 remain and only 13 get money. So the next player eliminated will go home 0. They still have to pay for their parking. But the next player will receive $56,450. That's kind of cruel and beautiful at the same time. That's why we love the game.
But, I mean, let's put it from a different perspective, Paul, is that you and I are also going home with 0. So they're not alone. They shouldn't feel so bad about it.
I don't know. If I was walking to the car park and I was 14th here and the next player got 56,000, I don't know, Ben. I think I'd have to challenge that it would be the same. And I think you would too. Now, where's Josh Monk? We were looking for him before. Where's he going, having fun?
No, he's gone off to try and to get one of his headsets from home.
Oh, he really wants the... Okay, well, if we can get Josh plugged in, we can have 3 of us. I can't guarantee we're going to control any kind of comedy with that.
We've been looking for a third headset for about 4 days now without a whole lot of luck. Who knew it'd be that difficult?
Well, lucky we've got probably 10 or 20 years of Aussie Millions back to get that right. This is live broadcast after all. When you have live broadcast, you've got to be ready for anything. Players are hand for hand. We're almost waiting right now for that moment where somebody gets really crushed and the rest of them are all happy, because what happens then is there tends to be a bit of a rush. All the short stacks go, thank goodness I'm getting money, I'm going to play normally. And we lose some players. So what we've got to do, our job today, is to get us to a final table. Once we're at that final table, we lock it up, we come back tomorrow, and it all starts again. We play down to 1 winner. Now, reminding you that if you came 9th in this tournament, you would get 75 grand. But if you come first, you get 652,000. That is how steep the payout is. So you can now understand the tension, why they're all looking at that other table, trying to understand. You must be going, why am I watching this? Because they are watching one hand at a time. And watch what will happen in a second. Once the hand completes at that table, because they've already played their hand, they will all turn around any second now, sit down and start the next hand. Unless, of course, they're all high-fiving each other because somebody at the other table busts. That's where we're at, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah, you wish there were other cameras. We're talking about that, so people in the chat, I understand that. You can kind of almost see it, but these are the things that we'll be able to look at for next year, because we most certainly know the Aussie Millions is going to grow year on year now. Now that it's back, we've already been talking to Dan and Harold and the team at Crown about the things we want to do, and one of those things is get more cameras, etc., expand the coverage. This is normal. You all want this because it is the right thing, so we will definitely do that.
I mean, there was so much discussion among the Crown team, you know, just how big will this event be? A few nerves, just not
well, we
quite
had to know, right? They need to know.
Yeah, and it's been 6 years. There's a lot of almost experimentation this year, but the results are there for all to see now. Yeah. So, you know, already we know that the team here are talking about 2027 with so much more confidence and understanding what this event is, how big it is, how important it is.
And also there's a query on Danny doing at least 20,000 steps. That's the, I think they're the unders, right?
I would, I think comfortably above.
I might have the inside track on this, but I'm not going to reveal it because I've seen a couple of those days and none of them were running days, which is terrifying.
Look,
None.
I was at an industry conference a few years ago where I did over 30,000, so I know what that feels like. Watching Danny run back and forth all day, I think he's comfortably over the 30,000.
I think that's safe to assume. This is interesting. We're on the bubble, so you've got one of the more aggressive players, right? Pre-flop, we know the stats, is Babana. And look at this, he's reaching for chips. He's in the cutoff. This is the part where he's trying to stay reasonable, but he's trying to stay true to his game. So he's raising in position. And now look at the eyes. They're all looking at each other going, Josh with 9-7 of spades. Is this an opportunity, perhaps, to put pressure on him? Nah, Josh says, not right now. Maybe later. Alex Trevelyan, the short stack, folds Kai Tanaka with an ace. So, for example, here, Kai might instinctively know he's ahead. And he's going to call. So even a call at this point for Babana would be uncomfortable. Even though he's got King Jack and he's slightly behind, he wouldn't want to go too deep into a hand. Let's have a look at the flop. It is 8-8-3. So ace ahead with Kai. He's going to force Babana to bet here by checking. Maybe Babana plays it softly. He's only got 590,000. Doesn't want to lose control here. Remember, anything goes wrong and he will lose his... he could be one of those players. Oh, the turn, a deuce. So Kai Tanaka has now caught the lead. He was in the lead, actually. I apologise. It goes check and over to Babana. He's going to check too. We go to a river. And it is a 4 of spades. So clearly here an intent from the players to check it down and just open up and take the chips if you got it. So there, Babana and Kai Tanaka playing it softly. No harm, no foul, just a few chips moving across. Nobody's going to lose $56,000 here. That's what they're saying to each other. But you never know when you get big hand versus big hand. That's the stuff of dreams and nightmares. So there you go. So Alex Trevelyan really struggling here. 3.9 big blinds. That's not a lot of chips. And the next place person is Babana, and he's got 15 big blinds. So he's not really under pressure. Like you just saw, he can play a couple of hands. But Alex Trevelyan is really just in a position where he can't do that. He must play.
We've had someone in the chat say they hear the Vic Champs is going to be big. Well, may have heard similar rumours about that, and I think the best place to catch up on that, once the Aussie Millions is done and dusted for 2026, keep your eyes on Poker Media Australia, pokermedia.com.au.
We'll let you know.
We're giving you all the information as it comes to light about Crown's plans moving forward. We can certainly tell you Crown has big plans for poker for the future. And
well, I'll tell you what, if it's not on a webcast, I'll be honest, you'll have plenty of value because it's likely I'll be playing.
You'll be playing for the first level at least.
I make no guarantees. Have a look at this. One of the short stacks, Babana. It's got pocket kings. These are the hands you worry about. You're happy to get them, but you know you can get unlucky at this time, and you wouldn't want to. So let's see how he plays it. He's in the hijack. He raises it up. He's an aggressive player, so maybe some of those players won't give him credit for it. They both look at his stack, actually. Now, Alex is the short stack. He's kind of looking at the sky. Let's have a look and see what he's got. No, lets it go. Kai Tanaka with 8-6 of diamonds. Don't think he's going to get involved this time. It's in the... Oh, hello. This could be one of those times where, remember, a re-raise here would put an enormous amount of pressure on Babana. He might not think he's got kings, but no, he's going to take the safe approach. And he's been a very solid player thus far. So round 2, Luke Martinelli. And he's going to make the call, so we're going to see a flop. He's got 7-4 of clubs. Look at this. This allows players to put pressure. Luke with 2.1. Babana doesn't have a lot, so he's got to really avoid disaster. And look at this. The flop gives Luke top pair and a straight draw. However, he doesn't have any hearts. Babana with the best hand and king of hearts in his hands. Now, Luke will check. This would be interesting to see how Babana would play this. Normally, he would probably bet. But will he take the passive approach? Yeah, he does, because we're on the bubble, ladies and gentlemen. It changes everything. A turn is a 4 of hearts. And now Babana has the best hand, the second nuts, although Luke could still strike a 7 or a 4 and make a full, or the board could run out 8 or 3 of hearts and make a straight flush. What a very interesting hand. So both goes check, check. No one's going to lose their tournament life here. The river is a 4. Wow. So unbelievable. Babana's got a flush with a king, and Luke Martinelli has gone runner with a full house. This is incredible. This is really dangerous for Babana here. Really dangerous. He could be the bubble boy, depending on how this plays. Look at this. Luke is checking his cards to make sure. He's run into a full house. Now, this is one of those things. The players were avoiding conflict. They were checking it down, playing it safe, and then they run into big hands. Here, he's got a full house, and look at this. He's going to make a bear. Let's see how big the bear... Oh, wow. 300,000. So Babana has to call with a king-high flush. And he's only got 510. If he calls, he's still got some chips, but under an enormous amount of pressure. And 14 to go. Look at him.
Just trying to figure out.
He's in the house of pain. He's losing to many hands here.
He made the call.
Wow. And look at him. Oh, my goodness gracious me. And Luke's just going, oh, well, sorry, mate. That was crushing. So Babana now slips all the way down to 210,000. Oh, my goodness, ladies and gentlemen, that is exactly what we're talking about. This is the situation players are trying to avoid, but you just can't always avoid it. Somehow you're going to end up in situations where players have got the second best flush versus a full house that just ran out. Oh, my goodness. We have a shock announcement. It's possible that Josh Monk will become audible within moments. I shudder to think. Today had so many surprises. I don't know if I can deal with this. Oh, my goodness. Update on the numbers for the main event. Currently, we have 198 players for the main event. Oh, my goodness. The flight numbers, when we say flight, we mean day 1A, day 1B, day 1C, are huge. So back in 2020, on the first flight, they only had 160 players, and in the end, we totaled to 820. This year, that's already been surpassed. Now, it doesn't always mean that it's going to be, in the end, bigger than 820, but if it is, that'll be one of the biggest Aussie Millions fields ever, and we just got back here. So Luke Martinelli here, in a hand with Josh Hutchins. Josh has raised it up to 80,000 with King 10 of spades. Nice and pretty. Short-handed, remember, so there's not a lot of players at the table. And Luke Martinelli now has picked up Ace King of diamonds in the small blind. So has he raising? Is he going to call? Luke picking up that incredible hand just then. He raises. And look at this. A very quick fold from Yuki. Back to Josh. Does he want to play? He doesn't want to play. He's not going to get involved right now. Now's not the time. Yes, it is my anniversary. To those listeners, I'm getting some messages saying, how can you be possibly there on your anniversary? And the answer is I married well.
Well, I mean, is there anything more romantic than being in the Crown Poker Room on your anniversary? And I would say no.
Well, the truth is, if I was home, there's a good chance my wife would say, you know what, seeing you're here, I might go down and play a little tourney. She doesn't mind a flutter. She's quite good at it.
There you go. That's, yeah, very romantic.
One player. And then we're giving away money. Imagine being the player that walks home to the garage all the way, pay the parking, and go home, and you've got to miss out. Yeah, that kind of sticks, right? It stays a long time.
Just
My
doing a little.
goodness, we're doing a test here, ladies and gentlemen. I don't know what to think. This
Shuffling
day's had
around.
lots of different surprises, audio issues and all sorts of things, but now Josh Monk might be joining us and there could be 3 microphones. The world's upside down. So that's our microphone. Can we test Josh? Can we hear you?
Oh, yeah, that's even better.
Start talking.
Can you hear me?
Oh no, we can hear him. Can you hear us?
Not really.
We're bringing Josh Monk back to the now. We've got 3 commentators. Now let me make it very clear. Seat 1 calls the play. You 2 do the comedy, and if it's not good enough, I re-raise on the comedy. All right. The flop. We're at the bubble. Masato, the big stack at 3 million. Luke Martinelli. Queen. Oh, hang on a sec. Luke, we haven't got his cards yet, but he's got 2.7 million in chips. So the flop comes 6-5 deuce. Players are playing passively, trying to avoid the bombs of a bubble disaster. We saw what happened to Babana. Get into an enormous amount of trouble. Unfortunately for him, Luke Martinelli picking up some chips. These guys just playing this hand a little bit passively. Pair of 5s for Masato. Waiting on Luke's hand to come through. Sometimes the players have got chips near them. Sometimes the technology doesn't catch up straight away. So we work hard to do that, but it's not perfect. And that puts pressure on us commentators to have a good guess at what they've got. It's kind of a good way to test your knowledge. Queen on the turn. Wow. The river of kings. So now Masato has got 2 pair. We still don't know what Luke Martinelli's got. Pot's about 460,000. Masato catching 2 pair on the turn. And reaching for chips, going to put it in there. Now we'll find out whether Luke's got a hand. Because if he's got it, he's going to have to call. All right.
Thinking long and hard is Luke.
My wife says that she would bust before the money. No, I don't believe that for a second. She'd get very angry with the people raising her, though. On principle, because she's a very principled person.
Right. And poker's a very principled game, of course.
Alex Trevelyan with 155,000. Happy anniversary, sweetheart. Just for those who don't know, I sacrifice so much to be here. She, of course, has to take care of our family. Shout out to Janine, her mother, who's... she's just an attention seeker going out for another medical procedure. I'm sure she's fine. If she's listening. Oh, my goodness gracious me. We have reached 200 in our main event day 1 registration. That is unbelievable. Far surpassing the 2020 number on day 1A. Just kidding, Janine. You'll be fine. Let's get back. We need our babysitter back.
All sorts of discussion going on about headsets and microphones and all sorts of things.
Probably works, but every time he turns his back, I turn it off because I'm not sure I can deal with Josh Monk on a 3rd microphone.
Good on you, Paul. Good on you,
Oh, there's that squeaky chair again. We're going to have to look at that WD-40 budget. On the bubble, 1 player remaining. It's all light and fun right now, but I promise you, the second we catch the wind, that there is 1 potential all-in, you watch the tension just burst. And the bubble too.
There certainly 100% will be a change in playing style once that bubble bursts. things will change a lot. But for now, everybody's just playing a little cautiously, very aware of where we're at.
I can't believe there's 200 main event players on day one.
That's amazing. That's absolutely brilliant. Absolutely brilliant to see that many players on day 1A. We have some intruders in our broadcast area today.
I think it's a television.
Yeah.
No.
No.
So unfortunately what's happening is players see our screens, they're not allowed to be watching it, and they've come in to watch it.
We've got all sorts of intruders. This is...
we have rules.
it's a circus in here. What's going on?
Oh my goodness, what a buzz in this room. It's fantastic.
Yes, apologies to our audience. We'll try and get back to the poker soon as we keep getting people just sitting next to us randomly, watching TV.
I just got a message from my wife saying she's listening to the coverage and she bought herself something online and said, "Happy anniversary, darling."
So, yes, so she's filling the void.
Yeah.
Probably in her happy place, ironically.
You know, this morning, when she was on the way with the kids, she literally said to me, "How you doing?" I said, "Yeah, not too bad. It was a late night." And she was like, "Yeah, it's going to be a long day." And then the lady from the coffee van came over and she went, "Yeah, just a second. Hi, how are you?" And then went back to me and went, "So anyway." Do you get that from your wife?
I'm actually a little disturbed that you said you had a late night last night, because I remember you leaving hours before.
Oh, I'm glad you brought that up. Sorry, I forgot. I was watching the Man United-Liverpool game. You walked into that, Ben.
We won't talk about that.
Now, please tell me Josh Monk's mic doesn't work.
Thanks, Paul.
You should see behind the scenes here. Josh has plugged in almost every electrical device here next to the hairdryer to get this working.
If the power goes out across the entire Crown complex, we know that Josh is at fault.
That's fine. I'll take it.
My goodness.
Trying to help out.
I'm hoping you get it right just as the bubble bursts and we have to wrap up play. Oh, we're having fun. Hang on a sec. Let's check his mic. Are we back?
So, can you hear me?
A bit closer. Not loving that. No. No. No, it's not working. And I promise it's not me. So, someone in the building is following Josh to make sure he's not audible. Yeah, it's channel 4, or is it channel 5? Let's try again. No.
It's definitely that channel.
It's definitely these. Go. No, they're on. Go. Now, this is background. This is me. This is Ben. For those at home, this is just a quick tutorial on audio visual. While we wait for the bubble to burst. Look at the players. Just look at the players. Don't worry about Josh Monk for a second. Look at the players. They are looking at each other's tables now with intent, and now they quickly go back to hand for hand. So as soon as that player finishes at that table and it's over, you'll see the cards in the air. It means the other table didn't bust a hand, because I promise you, you'll let them know. They will let you know when you'll hear the sound when we burst. When we burst, there'll be one very sad player and 13 very happy ones.
Look, the joys of commentators trying to fill the air in hand-for-hand play. Who knows where we'll end up next.
All right, that's channel 4.
But we
What about
are-
now?
Oh my goodness. Is that
chance or
you?
what?
Is that you?
We're a chance?
Yeah, I think that was it.
It's okay?
Let's
think
try.
if you need to speak directly into the top bit.
Right, like all the way up here.
No,
Pretty
he's
much.
audible. Oh my
Pretty
goodness. Ladies and gentlemen, in the booth we have Josh Monk and Ben Blaschke. I'm Paul Curry. You're at the 2026 Aussie Millions. Thanks to CrownBet, we're on the bubble. of the 25k tournament, and the next place finisher will get nothing, and then the 13th player will get $56,000. So we're down. Look at this. We have an all-in situation. So Babana with Ace King has moved in for his remaining 110. Josh has King 10, and he folds. He's thinking about it. He's thinking about it. No, he's called. He's called. So we have an all-in and a call here. So Ace King is ahead, but if Babana sees a disaster on this flop, he could be the bubble boy. All smiles now, like looking relaxed. Have either of you been in this situation? Not at these stakes, I know that. You wouldn't be sitting here. But have you been in this situation?
In my $5 pub game, I devastatingly saw my aces get cracked.
Oh my goodness, the boys are boys and girls are having a great old time, even though right now, under that smile, Babana is going, please don't bad beat me. Please. Yeah, they're just doing a quick, slow reveal of their cards before we go to the action. So it's an all-in and a call. And we're just waiting. Hand for hand. So there's a little bit of a pause here. So what would happen here is if there was an elimination at the other table, let's just talk through that, boys. If there was an elimination at the other table at the same time during the same hand number as an elimination here, how would they decide?
Yeah, I believe that they chop up the... I forget that I got the mic.
Sorry,
in my
ladies
hand.
and gentlemen, I just want to point out that Josh started talking without the microphone he spent 3 hours looking for.
I brought it over from home, yeah? No, they chop up 13th if that happens.
All right, here we go. So really here, Babana's just breathed a sigh of huge relief. Oh, wow, he locks up the hand. So Babana will double up, and so he should. I mean, you don't like to see a bad beat on at the bubble. You kind of want, you'd rather see a cooler, and then I think people can live with that. But if you're losing King 10 to Ace King, I think you're going to talk about it forever. So now, if you were on two tables and you're hand for hand and you have two busts, talk us through how that decision makes so the people at home can really understand.
What actually happens here, if everybody can actually hear me?
Closer.
Closer? I've got my mouth down the microphone,
that's
yeah?
Fine,
Is that
that's
fine?
Yeah.
Yeah, actually what happens here is that it's a double elimination on the bubble. So they actually chop up 13th money.
Yep.
Straight down the guts. So $56,450 divided by 2, because they both technically finish in 13th and 14th at the exact same time. So they actually chop up the money.
Okay.
That's if there's an elimination on two tables simultaneously.
Okay.
Yeah, it's different if there's a double elimination on one table. But if it's on the feature table and this outer table here, they would actually chop up the money. Because it's in the exact same hand, if you understand what I mean.
Yeah, I do. Thank you. There you go. It was worth the wait.
Yeah. Hopefully you can hear me. Is that okay down for you?
That's better there. It's a bit...
I mean, I've got it in my mouth, basically. I'm like eating the microphone.
You may need to basically suck on that microphone
Sure, it's fine.
and I don't want to watch that
Oh,
happen.
my goodness. We've got the production man coming over, Matt, to try and help us with the microphone. Josh sounds like he's a bit underwater. We might try and fix that. That's Josh there.
We've got Matt here to save the day.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're hand for hand, which means one player, and we're on the bubble of the 25k buy-in for the 2026 Aussie Millions, thanks to CrownBet. First prize in this tournament, $652,000. There are 14 players remaining. The next placed finisher will get no money, and then the rest will start to pocket a minimum of $56,000. Quite remarkable, the pressure. Here we're walking into a hand, and the flop comes 9-5-7. Kai Tanaka with a solid pair of eights and a straight draw. Masato, the big stack at the table. We don't know what he's got at this point because the RFID cards haven't been picked up yet, but we'll just wait and see if we can anticipate. Does he want to fight him? Going to call. Yeah. Let's go to a turn. Oh, Kai Tanaka checks, I apologise. The action was on Masato. And it is a check call, so we go to a turn. It is a repeat 5, so pocket 8's reasonable condition, but still unclear on what Masato Yokosawa has. Any guesses, boys?
Could have a flush draw here. Could obviously have like a jack 10. And there's a jack of diamonds at the river. That could actually help his hand, Masato. Kai obviously flopping a gut shot with a pair of 8s in his hand. Doesn't make that straight with the 6 ball. So I could imagine out of the big blind here, he's going to check his option.
Kai now
Love this though.
reaching for chips, yeah. Putting the pressure on.
Yeah, you got to love this from Kai. He's going to put the pressure on, like you said, Paul.
That's 250,000 into the big stack. Got to admire that.
Very likely Masato here has a missed flush draw. Could have the jack 10, however. Does make the call.
And we're going to see the hand now. And his hand goes into the muck, so we don't know what he had, but what we do know is Kai Tanaka takes it down. And he moves up to 2.5 million, takes a little bit out of the big stack doing so. So pocket 8's are good.
Great bit of value to get there in that spot too.
Yeah, absolutely.
So just having a look at the prize money here, Paul. Have a look at that up top. 652. Am I reading that correctly?
You are reading that correctly. Yes.
652,000.
I may have said that
150 times.
16 or 17 times in the last hour.
Sorry, I was grabbing a headset and a microphone.
But it's good to know that the reason I've said it 16 or 17 times is because I still can't get my head around how big the money is.
Sure.
And I never do, really, to be fair. The money and prize pools here at 2.3 million here, 2.1 for the 5K.
Sure.
It's just, you know, the overall prize pool was expected at around 14, and now it's got to be much, much higher than that. So I'm looking forward to finding out exactly how the poker community responded. And I know that Dan and Harold have put together such a tremendous tournament, but now they're trying to figure out how to keep it all together because of the chaos and how many people. Now, here we're at a big hand. Alex Trevelyan is all in. He's got 50,000 in chips, the short stack. Now look at this. Kai Tanaka will call Luke Martinelli in the big blind. We don't know what Luke's got. This could be one of those situations where two players call to eliminate another by checking it down. It's not collusion because they usually bet when they have the best hand, but often some players will go, let's get in here and play together, with the odds maybe falling against the short stack. We may have that situation here. Let's see. Now, normally when a player strikes, they bet, and therefore the other one folds, and it's all over. Bob's your uncle. Kai Tanaka picking up a pair of 6s. Alex is in a bit of trouble here. Alex could be the bubble boy. The turn, a 7, giving Alex less hope. Alex Trevelyan could be out. The river is a 2 of diamonds. Let's wait for it. There's a bet. No, it goes check, check. So there's a reveal here, and Alex Trevelyan stands up. Ladies and gentlemen, Alex Trevelyan appears to be waiting for the confirmation. It's fist pumps, smiles. He's got such a big smile on him. He's been a really good sport, but that must be really crushing. He was so patient, waited so long, and he just didn't get there. He picked the hand that he liked in Jack 10 offsuit. He put it in there. Assuming there's no elimination on the other table, we will now be in the money, and Alex Trevelyan will be our bubble boy. So you can see there's applause from some players going, right, we're in the money. Finally, we go from 0 to $56,000 minimum payout. And poor Alex is going to go, I'll buy him a bourbon. Wow, the chip count. So Masato Yokosawa sits atop at 2.89 million. Kai Tanaka at 2.7. Babana hanging in there at 300,000. He made it work. He must be so happy, as are all the players that make the money. But your heart's got to go out to Alex Trevelyan, Ben. I mean, he really hung in there. He was patient. He waited for a hand. He got it in. He got unlucky.
He was. He folded in a number of spots that he may, in any other situation, have put the money in with. But he just got desperately short at the end, and the Jack 10 had to go in.
So that's it officially. A field down to 13. All in the money, like Paul said. Is that better down the microphone for you? Or is it a bit too loud that now that Matty Mike...
I'm enjoying
You
this.
good-
This
you
is,
enjoying that?
This is enjoyment. I'm comfortable with this state-of-the-art headset, and you've gone into the dark ages with putting you through. In fact,
microphone
we've
is.
got a few headsets, but we didn't tell you.
I ducked across the street to home to go and pick these up, yeah? Josh Hutchins,
Oh my
yeah.
goodness. Now, boys, after the bubble bursts, we usually see a rush, right? All the short stacks start getting it in. They go,
course.
right, okay, let's play some normal poker, and sometimes it gets young. Like Josh Hutchins in a hand here with ace-jack, raising it up to 100,000. We haven't seen much.
From Yuzi?
Yeah, we haven't seen much from her. Now she's in a hand. She calls with ace-4. She's in the big blind and defending. She's picked up a really nice straight draw here. And quickly checks over to Josh. So you'll notice the gear change almost immediately between the players. They'll start moving like normal. It goes check, check. Won't take long for them to get moving. Repeat 5 on the turn. So Josh still ahead, but Yuki?
Yuzi. I
Yuzi,
believe, yeah.
thank you. Well, people pronounce it differently. Yuzi, I like Yuzi. She's been playing really well, I must say. Very patient, very
Sure.
stoic,
Good.
taking her time, not getting involved. Got to admire that. As it looks like a bet and call here. Bet of 100,000 back to Yuzi.
Josh is taking a stab here for 100k.
Yeah.
Can't imagine Yuzi's going to go anywhere here. She does have that up and down draw, as you can see. And he deuce 3, 7. And a 4, actually, as well. We'll get
And we'll make the call.
She may even feel that her hand is good, as we are.
there.
Yeah.
And a 6 for a chop. So a few outs there, but she can't find any of them at the river there as the Queen of Clubs peels off. It's going to go
And
check.
there is a quick showdown
Check.
between the players, and Josh will take it down.
Paul's just turned my mic off there, so thank you, Paul.
I've got control, Ben. This is fun.
Yeah, I feel at the mercy of the gods. So, yes, the bubble has now burst. All 13 remaining players are in the money, guaranteed a minimum payday of $56,450. Of course, they'll all be aiming for that $652,000 top prize. And at this level, that's exactly what they'll be targeting. It's, the 56,000, the minimum payday is just a milestone along the way.
Right.
But certainly, play will open up from here for sure for those short stacks.
And we're playing down to a final table, and then tomorrow we come back and we're on that path from 75,000 to 652,000. So giving away the big money now, 56 grand for the next payout. Again, hearts out to Alex Trevelyan. I hope his mates are good mates and they're buying him around. Over to Babana, who I've got to say, I thought got terribly unlucky with those pocket kings. I thought he might have been the bubble boy against Luke Martinelli, who ran into a full house and took a lot of his stack, but he survived and now he's in the money. Over to Josh, who's been involved a lot lately, but he folds, as has Kai Tanaka. But like his game a lot, Kai. He's been very, very solid, really reasonable, thinks through all his decisions, looks around, considers all the detail, and then makes his decision. Round to Luke, not going to get involved. Yuzi plonks some chips down. She's in the small blind. She moves all in immediately, and it's a quick fold from Masato. No surprises. We're down to 12 players now, so we lost one player there. Must have been at the other table because we didn't lose it here. And suddenly we're only a few players away from that final table.
Yeah, I believe they're playing down to 6 tonight, Paul, and then they're going to come back tomorrow. There's a comment in the chat there. Josh, you must be excited. Ash Gupta, currently 4th in chips in the main flight. Talking about that main flight, Paul, just ticked over 200 players in day 1A of the main.
Yeah, amazing, right?
That's just insane.
Just crazy amounts of... No, it just shows that the community have been waiting and waiting and waiting for the Aussie Millions to come back. And Dan and Harold brought it back, and it's just fantastic. Really, really cool. Now, just to confirm, there will be a pay jump at 11th. So 11th will get 65,000. So nearly nine plus grand more. As you get further down the track, the pay jumps get just that bit bigger. Like first and second, 250k, just a little bit bigger. Luke Martinelli raising it up, 100,000 with Jack 9 off suit.
Question coming in for you here, Paul. When will the main be streamed?
When will the main be streamed? So we will pick up coverage of the main on Friday this week. So we'll run the day 1, A, B and C, and then we will join on day 2.
Right.
So once those fields converge, because it's such a difficult thing to manage, tracking day 1, A, B and C from our perspective is a little bit challenging to try and bring all that information together. So what we tend to do in live coverage, or the magic of media, is we wait until those fields converge, and that happens on day 2. So we join the action right when all those fields come together, and then that's a really important moment, that day 2, because that's kind of where everybody starts to get very serious. Oh, I've made day 2. I'm not that far away from money.
Right.
And then this sort of atmosphere of tension happens, and we take the ride to crown a champion 4 days later.
There you go.
Going to be very cool.
Martinelli here in the cut-off. Finds the Jack 9 offsuit. It's going to raise it up and make it 100k to go. Bunapal in the big blind. Got the Queen 6. Facing just a big blind here to call.
Main event field still in action. 200 players began. Beautiful structure. There are still satellites running for the remaining days. There's not much time left, but there are a couple. So if you want to squeeze yourself in and give yourself a chance, now's the time. Tomorrow, you can get down to Crown. At the very least, you'll be looking at 2 of the biggest tournaments on the schedule.
I'm not sure what's happened there. Playing a bit of catch-up.
Yeah, we are. But Babana's got 150k. That's what we know. Yuzi with 9.55, Masato with 2.7. So forgive us if sometimes the coverage skips and we have to catch up with it. That is the beauty. When I used to work in TV, it was just easy. They'd just cut it out. The magic of editing. Live, you just go and hold on to your pants. You try and find microphones and plug them all in. Cards are in the air. Babana still the short stack. 11 players remaining. Just as I looked up to the screen, we must have lost another one on another table. So they are dropping like flies after waiting and waiting and waiting. So Kai Tanaka raises to 100,000. Folds around. We are short-handed now, so the hands are moving really quickly. But also the hand ranges are wider because obviously when you're 9-handed, those hands tend to be a lot more tighter. Now when you're short-handed and there are less players, the hands, the ranges widen, to say the very least. It's a good opportunity to pick up chips though, and also to get into trouble.
That is true. The blinds do come around a bit faster too, obviously. Paul, once every few hands. Have to be wary of that.
Ben Blashy's going to take seat 1 for a bit. Chop me out.
Gives me an opportunity to use the other microphone, maybe.
No, I think we should keep you on that microphone.
No, can't be holding this all night. Josh.
Ben's going to give you he's going to be a kind guy and give you his mic. I don't agree with it. Now, what guarantees are there that you're going to carry on the quality of comedy I've been delivering? We'll be back shortly. I'm handing it over to Ben Blaschke.
Thanks, Paul. We'll take it through to the break. It breaks in 45. We'll take it through till then.
I'll tell you what, that's 10 times better.
Sorry, when you say 10 times better, do you mean the person in the chair? Or
No, just not holding the microphone against my mouth, yeah? So Josh Hudson's here at race from the small blind. And Ken Tanaka folded from the big blind with the 5 deuce off. No. on the board of deuce ace 9. Playing a little bit of catch up here with the graphics. Know that Matty Marshall was helping me out just before, trying to fit in a new microphone here. I had to go across the street back home, pick up my own headset, my own microphone.
Yeah, I think we're certainly hoping to have the third proper headset and microphone tomorrow, so we can have 3 of us sitting here comfortably at various stages. But look, we're fine now. We've got Josh and I doing the duo.
There we go. Yuzi's going to fold the 10-7 suited in diamonds. 6-5 goes into the mark. Round to Josh, who did elect to fold the 5-3 off. Kai Tanaka here with the 10-5 offsuit. In the small blind. Doesn't decide to make a play against Luke Martinelli, and neither would I. He turns over the Nintendo 64 too, the 6-4 off. Jeez, I tell you what, that's so much better now. I'm not holding a microphone. My arm was getting a bit weak there.
A bit more comfortable now.
Yeah, a little bit.
So we have, well, I think the table will be balanced very soon, but we have 4 players at this table, all sitting comfortably above 40 to 50 big blinds, 40 to 60 big blinds between the 4 of them.
Sure. Chris Burke coming into the chat. Can hear you now, Monk. Chris, I hope everything is going well for you up there in Canberra. Shout outs to my friend Chris Burke up there in Canberra as we get back to the action here. Pop it up, make it 100k to go. Masato with the pocket 3s, also known as the crabs here. Under the gun, round to Kai. Kai's the gentleman in the middle there with that cream sort of hoodie. Deciding to let go of the 10-8 suited from the button. Round to Luke Martinelli. Can he find the RFID reader? No, he can't. He's going to flick in the small blind. And round to Yuzi. We'll get confirmation on how to pronounce that name probably at the break. But I believe that's pretty close. Has the has the King 4 offsuit here. An 855k in her stack. 17 bigs. And she's just going to flick in. Pretty easy call. Defending from the big blind here, so off to the flop we go. Pocket 3s versus the King 4 off, and here comes the flop. It comes 9-7 Jack, 2 spades down. No real help to either player. Masato out with the lead with the underpair to the board. Yuzi needs to find a king or a 4 here. Ben Blasky.
Yeah, Masato has been very aggressive today. No fear in firing away at all sorts of dangerous looking boards. Of course, earlier there was a interesting hand where he fired away with nothing and he hit a straight with running cards.
Right.
Put his opponent to the test, who was clearly wondering what's going on here. What could he possibly have?
Usually here picking up a gut shot to go along with the King High, but obviously Masato still out with the lead. Apologies, Ben. Continue.
So yeah, I mean that's the fortune favours the brave. Doesn't it,
yes,
sometimes?
Absolutely it does. It's going to go check on the flop and the turn. Here comes the river. Brings in the deuce of clubs. So usually here with just King High, the pocket 3s are actually going to hold up on this board. Don't see that happen very often, unless, of course, Yuzi decides to come out with a bet. Of course, it wouldn't be looked up with the pocket 3s, so she's just going to check, and it's going to go check for sure. And there you see it. The pocket 3 is going to get it done. Second worst pair on this particular board. Obviously, he could make pair of deuces. Pair of 3s going to hold on a 9 Queen Jack 7 deuce board. And there's the chip counts right there. So 59 bigs for Masato. 2.94 million. Luke Martinelli, I tell you what, when he gets chips, watch out. He knows exactly what to do. Big time player. Good friend of myself and that of Adam Burke and that of Josh Abatey.
Yeah, Luke's had a pretty good series so far. Ran deep in the 5K yesterday. Didn't quite make the final table, but was in the mix.
Yeah, I think he came, was it inside the 15? Inside top, yeah, definitely was a top 20 finish, wasn't it?
Mm.
Yeah. So obviously putting up some pretty big numbers there as we get back to Josh Hutchins here. Under the gun. Cards might appear shortly. Does pop it up, make it 100k to go. Kai's going to fold the Jack 10, one of my favourite hands, but obviously he plays it better than me, folding it in the cutoff. Luke Martinelli is going to fold from the button. Yuzi in the small blind. Queen 4 off. That goes into the muck. Masato finding one of my all-time favourites, the old 8-6 suited connector.
And there we go, 6 in the window.
And there it is. So top pair with the 8 kicker for Masato, and completely unknown hand at the moment for Josh. So let's see how Masato decides to play this from the big blind. First to act after the flop. He's going to check it.
Lost one, 69, seat 2.
If you couldn't hear that down the microphone, that's lost one, seat 9, 62. So there you go. As we get back to here, so it's going check, check. Turn card brings in the 5 of spades. Obviously, that comment from Danny McDonough was referring to the 10K Flight 1A that's going on. Not this particular event. Masato's going to come out with a bet. Pretty easy one here on the repeat 5 turn board. Question came in saying, is there a guarantee on the main? I'm not actually 100% sure. I might find out about that. Maybe I think there's a guarantee on the main for first prize, but I'm not sure if there's like a guarantee in terms of the prize pool. I'd have to double check.
Yeah, we'll double check that. I don't believe there is. There was a $1 million guarantee on the opening event,
Sure.
which got absolutely smashed. I think it was around 2.7 million prize pool.
Right.
But I don't believe there's a guarantee on the main. We will confirm.
Yeah, might be able to find that information at the break. I believe we're coming up to a break shortly. You're listening to Josh Monk, aka Monkey, alongside the man, the myth, the legend himself from Poker Media Australia, Ben Blasky. Down to a field of 11 here from 98 entries. This is hand number 115 of this stream. Kai Tanaka picking up the 5-4 suited. Two side.
Kai's been very measured in his play today. Hasn't taken too many risks. Made a very good fold earlier against Nlhe when Nlhe flopped trips and Kai turned top pair, but managed to fold the river when Andy check raised.
Have a look at this flop. So Kai flopping the gut shot. Also have a 5 and a 4 that he can hit to make a pair against Josh, who called with a king queen from the small blind. From the big blind. Goes check check on the flop. 9 of clubs on the turn. No help to Josh or Kai for that matter. So Kai's going to come out for a bet here after Josh checks his option from the big blind on the turn. Josh, I'm imagining, going to find the muck, which he does, and Kai's going to take that one down with a two-side, 5-4 diamonds.
Yeah, the delayed C-bet there. May have expected a continuation on the flop, but elected to take a slightly more passive route.
Question here, is the final table 9 players or 8? I believe they're trying to play down to 6 tonight.
We'll confirm that as well. We've got a number of questions for the staff here just to lock in all those answers for you.
Yeah.
There's a little bit of planning on the run here tonight, given the significant sizes of the fields in this event. So as each of the tournament is played out, the staff are just constantly in discussions about the best way to proceed.
Yeah, obviously when they get down to the final 9 players, they'll all merge onto one table and play as a table of 9 for obvious reasons. But I think they're going to be playing all the way down to 6 players today and then coming back tomorrow, depending on time. But we'll get some information about that shortly. Uzi here finding the pocket 6s. Jams it all in from the cutoff. Josh out of the way with a 9-5 dolly Parton. 9-5 suited fold. Kai Tanaka here with the Queen 10. Asking for a count.
Kai just contemplating here. Trying to figure out where he stands with the Queen 10 off.
Yeah, it does have 2.8 million, 56 bigs. It's going to cost him roughly 800,000 in chips, 780,000 exactly to call. So roughly a third of his stack. Decides to let it go with the Queen 10, and Yuzi, the pocket sixes here, gets the job done. She's up to 18 bigs.
Yeah, I think 16 bigs was just a little bit too rich for the Queen 10 off.
Good call.
Of course, every player now is guaranteed $65,855. Next pay jump will be for the top 9. Ninth place player will receive $75,265, and then we start going up significantly. Top 7 will make 6 figures.
Yeah, so they're basically, between 10th and 9th, there's a 10K pay jump, and then roughly a 17K pay jump from 9th to 8th. And then, as you can see, keep going up, but we'll get to that shortly. Yuzi's going to fold the 6-5 off, round to Masato. This gentleman there, sitting in seat 9 with a red shirt on. Going to pop it up and make it 100K to go. 2.9 million in his stack, or 59 bigs. Folded around to Luke Martinelli, who's in the big blind here with a 5-4 off. 56 bigs. He's a dangerous player, Luke Martinelli. I've said it once, and I'll say it probably 100 more times throughout this series, especially this call. The flop comes down Jack 3-10. Luke Martinelli at a range disadvantage, calling with the 5-4 from the big blind, so I'd imagine he's going to check his option, and Sato should be c-betting this flop like 98% of the time, maybe.
So, Josh, for some of our viewers who are, maybe more casual players, when you talk about range advantage, explain that to our viewers.
Yeah, I'll get to that after we call. So, as you can see, Masato just betting 125. So we're just talking about ranges here. So obviously, the players can't see each other's cards, but we can, right? And there's like an assumption within the game that when people are raising, entering into a pot, that they are playing a certain range of hands. And those range of hands can be predominantly, maybe, let's say, the top 25% of the hands in play, or the top 25% of hands possible. And therefore, when you're calling with a speculative hand like a 5-4, when the boards come out sort of like Jack 10-7 or Jack 10-9 or a board that was similar to that, combinatorically from the people who are actually raising with that top 25% of hands, it should be hitting them more often than it hits you. So what you'll most likely see is people from the big blind there check with 5-4 off, and it would almost certainly be a C bet or a continuation bet from that of the pre-flop raiser, who would be representing that narrative or that story that they've hit this board or are still strong enough on that board, equity-wise, against a random hand. That's kind of the idea behind that, Ben.
So I guess to sort of put that into layman's terms, if we've got a flop that's, got an ace and a king, or an ace and a queen, or a king and a queen, those sort of high cards, that tends to favour the pre-flop opener, the pre-flop raiser. And of course, if you've got a flop that's your 4, 5, 7 sort of low, that's often going to favour the person who called. That's sort of more in their range of cards that you expect them to have.
Of course.
So that's what we talk about when we talk about ranges and range advantage. And of course, then we won't go into too much detail when we talk about nut advantage and things like that. But that's
don't want to get too technical. We want to try and keep it as layman's terms for those people watching at home for the first time. But essentially, poker's about creating a narrative, and when you're raising pre-flop, you're creating this narrative that you have, decent cards in your hand, and then obviously when those cards hit the board, like an ace, king, queen, jack, 10 or whatever, you can bet them out and create that sort of story that you've got a piece of that. And that's exactly what happened there, despite the fact that we didn't see what Masato had in that hand against Luke. But that's the reasoning for why there's so many C bets, which is a continuation bet from that of the pre-flop raiser on most boards. Very hard to make a pair in Hold'em. You're only 20%. You know this? You're only 20% to make a pair, or it's like 18.9% or whatever, to make a pair on the board in Hold'em. On the board, not just on the flop.
In my case, it's about 1%.
Sure. Yeah. Anyway, three-way action here. So Ray's under the gun from Josh. Gets a call from Luke Martinelli and a call from Masato. Three unknown hands at the moment. We are having a couple of technical difficulties, I should say, with the RFID reader. So we're going to call this hand blind. Flop does come down King, Queen, 5. So this is a flop that hits Josh quite often because he was the pre-flop raiser. So he's going to put out a continuation bet, also known as a C bet, that I was referring to in the last hand. Luke Martinelli, who did call on the button, does elect to fold this hand. And Masato's going to fold. So there's a perfect example there of exactly what we're talking about in terms of ranges.
Yeah, I mean, it makes life challenging for a commentator when you can't see the cards of any of the players. But, you know, interesting, Luke calling on the button. I wonder if he had a sort of a smaller or medium sort of pair there, or something he didn't want to put too much money in the pot with pre-flop, and didn't really like the king and the queen on the board.
Actually, to be honest, that last hand was a perfect example of what I was talking about with the ranges, because you don't know what the other players have, obviously, and neither did we in that particular spot. So you can actually put yourself sort of in the player's head a little bit there, and what would you do facing the action after you faced the pre-flop raise action from that of Josh. And obviously, if you're not connecting with that board strong enough to continue, you do put it in the muck, which is what Masato and Luke did facing action. So that's a perfect example, actually, on cue for us there in the commentary booth as we get back to the action here. Yuzi all in on the button with the king-queen offsuit here, Ben, and Luke Martinelli can't find a hand. Just going to put that in the bin as well. So Yuzi Huang will pick up much-needed chips there. As Victor Robin comes in, mystery versus mystery. I totally agree.
As you say, I mean, you know, Josh was representing
A hand that hits that board.
a hand that hits that board, and based on, as we say, we talk about ranges, perfectly reasonable to believe that he would have a hand that, you know, with a high card board like King Queen X,
Yep.
that would hit Josh's hand.
Spot on, Ben Blasky. So we've got Josh, Kai, Luke, Yuzi, and Masato on this table. You're listening to me, Josh Monk, aka Monkey, alongside Ben Blasky from Poker Media Australia. This is hand number 121 of this 25k challenge. You heard that correctly. $25,000 to enter into this event. $652,670 up top. Eat your heart out, poker lovers. This event, obviously, for those who have very deep pockets or those people who want to have a stab at a humongous prize pool. We've got a field of 98 runners in here.
Danny McDonough was telling us earlier that, just based on their calculations, I think they had around 62 unique entries into this event. So
Right.
quite a few re-entries.
Right, there you go. I know that one of them, I believe, was a good friend of mine, Didier Gurin, who hopefully is watching from across the street, staying in Melbourne, originally from Sydney. Good friend of mine. I think he busted a bullet yesterday and decided to bust one today. And so Kai Tanaka in the big blind.
Of course, we won't hold the fact that Didier is a Chelsea fan against him.
Kai Tanaka checked. It's round to Yuzi Huang here with an unseen hand. Sorry for all the commotion going on in the background. Looks like Danny McDonough's making a comment to all the players playing in the 10K Day 1A. Just about what happens when they bag, not to go anywhere. Better 75K. Kai is going to fold the King 5, get it done. And question coming in here, Ben, maybe you can answer this one. How many runners in Flight 1A of the main?
That's an easy one to answer. There are exactly 200 runners in Flight 1A of the main. In fact, registration ending in just a little under 9 minutes. Exactly 200 starters at this point. Amazing number for Day 1A. 141 players of those 200 still remaining. Of course, this is a freeze out. So for those 59 players that have busted, well, there's always 2027.
Great call. So down to 11 players here in the 25K, and Like Ben said, 200 players in that day 1A of the main. 141 players currently remain. Danny was making a comment that there will be approximately 3 or 4 more hands. I think it might have been 4, but I do have my headset on to be played tonight before that is GG's for today. Those players coming back for day 2 on Thursday. It was day 1A today, day 1B tomorrow, day 1C on Wednesday. And day 2 kicks off Thursday with day 3 continuing on that Friday. So there's been a raise to 100,000 by Yuzi under the gun, and Masato's actually found the same hand but suited with the King Jack of Diamonds in the cutoff. Decided to call. Luke Martinelli getting out the way with the 10-6 off. So it's King Jack offsuit versus the King Jack suited. Masato trying to find some diamonds. Yuzi just wants to find maybe some spades or hearts for that matter, as the flop comes down a couple of queens and a 4-2 hearts. Pretty interesting spot for both the players. I reckon first person to bet this board will take it down. So will Yuzi continue her story and have a bet here? She doesn't. She's going to check it.
You can see there that Yuzi just has slight little bit more equity in this hand because of that heart, that Jack of Hearts that she holds.
Correct. So Yuzi's going to check, and Masato's going to have a stab here with the King Jack of Diamonds. Can Yuzi peel one off here for 75k or not? What would you do at home is really the question here. Would you peel one off and try and see a turn on this board of Queen, Queen, 4, 2 hearts, holding King Jack offsuit, the key card, the Jack of Hearts here? Or do you want to find a better spot to get your money in? Remember, Yuzi only has 1.1 million or 22 bigs, so she does elect to put it into the muck. And Masato will take that bad boy down for 400k in that pot. Blinds here are 25k, 50k with a 50k big blind ante. This is event number 9, the 25k challenge. Here on YouTube, Crown Resorts Group is the name of the channel. We thank all of you at home watching on your device, television, projector, iPad maybe. And I'm very happy to be in the comm booth here alongside Ben Blasky from Poker Media Australia and Paul Curry, who will be coming back shortly. I think he ducked off to get a tea or something. Or maybe coming up with a couple of jokes for me. He might have just got the sack, he said, but I doubt that very much.
Paul's been putting in the hard yards today, so we'll give him a little rest. we might let Paul take it home later tonight because I've been working tirelessly, non-stop around the clock the past few days. So that's what I like to tell people anyway.
Martinelli here finding the Queen 7 offsuit, the internet hand. Let's see what he decides to do from the small blind. He's going to apply some pressure to the big. Obviously has Yuzi Huang to try and get this one through. She picks up the King 8 off. Does have 20 bigs, 980k. Does have the best hand at the moment, but she is facing some action from Luke Martinelli, who you don't want to be giving chips to. I can tell you that much for free. I've played with Luke numerous times before, and he's an absolute crusher. But Yuzi not going to take my advice because she probably can't hear me and decides to flick in the call. So heads up action here, Queen 7 versus the King 8. Yuzi out in the lead at the moment. Here comes the flop, comes Queen 7 Jack. And Martinelli flopping top and bottom. Yuzi with nothing much more than King High. Can hit, obviously, backdoor cards to make straight. Luke Martinelli's going to bet basically the minimum here.
Probably a bit of a shame for Luke that Yuzi doesn't have much there to continue with. Always enjoy watching the small blind versus big blind battles. There's so many levels of thinking that go into those particular battles.
Right.
And it's so difficult to get a read on your opponent in that particular instance.
Agreed. Good shout there from Ben. Tell you what, it's 10 times better to have a headset on.
It is.
I can actually hear myself, hear you, and I don't have to hold a microphone to my bottom lip at a 45-degree angle, according to Paul Curry. So we're down to the final 11 players out of 98 entries in this 25k event. Like we have said a few times, 650,000 up top and some change, 400,000 and some change for second. Just over $250,000 for third. I might see if I can get Matty Marshall, who does the RFID and the production here, to put that at the bottom of the stream, and maybe being able to have that little event ribbon for those people at home who want to follow the action that way. As Daniel Triviano comes in clutch with the Coolridge water. So it's ace 4 versus the king queen. There's a raise on the button from Luke Martinelli with the king queen, and Masato decided to defend from the big line with the ace 4. Flop came down 4 jack 3, 2 clubs. Masato with a pair of 4s. She's going to check. He's going to check his option, and Luke Martinelli on the button is going to chuck out a bet there of 75k, Ben.
Yeah, Luke continuing the aggression. There's plenty of course, Masato going to make the call, but there's plenty of turn cards that can. Well, that's certainly not one of them for Luke. Masato makes trips on the turn, but there were plenty of turn cards that Luke could have continued barreling with.
Sure. Masato obviously hitting absolute gin on the turn, the offsuit 4. Sure, that will work. It's going to check. And imagine Luke's probably going to shut down here. Actually, I'd love to see what he does, and he does shut down, so he's going to check back. Here comes the river card. You don't want to see a king or queen if you are Luke Martinelli. You do if you are Masato, however. And the board repeats a 3 at the river, so Masato with a full house. 4's full of 3s here. Check mark next to his name. And he's just trying to figure out which hand is he going to try and target here to try and get some value out of. So he's thinking about hands like ace king, ace queen, king queen, a weak jack, maybe even 8s, 9s, 7s even probably could make a call here. Could put a case there. So hence the reason for why he's peeled off that time bank card to have a think about how he can try and extract some money from Luke Martinelli here at the river.
Of course, depending on what he thinks Luke might have will determine whether he leads out or checks, hoping that Luke will do the betting for him. But Masato has been not shy in firing, so he fires out, hoping that Luke has a hand that he can call with. Don't think Luke will be able to make that call. Thinking long and hard. Is his king high good enough? Could Masato have had a 5-6 sort of hand? Possibly busted club draw. That's what Luke's thinking about now.
Martinelli flicking in here a time bank. So Martinelli thinking about potentially calling here with king high. It's actually a very good bet from Masato here, 350k. It's a very polarizing bet. Basically betting 85% of the pot, representing a hand here. Martinelli going to flick in another time bank. So he's deep in thought here with the king queen.
And it is a board where there were a number of draws that didn't get there. So Luke is considering that. Is that what Masato has? Was he drawing? Makes the call.
Does make the call, and it's going to see the bad news. The full house, ace 4, getting the job done. Martinelli throws his hand as quickly as he possibly can into the muck here, and Masato actually played that hand quite well. And up to 76 bigs, or 3.8 million.
Pretty bit of space between himself and the rest of the table now.
Sure.
Masato is playing very well.
Let's see if I can get some information for Aussie DK saying, do you know who won the 8 game? I actually don't know who won the 8 games, so I might have to find out.
Yeah, we're here in the in Echo State is where the 25k and the main event, the core of the main event is played today. The 8 game is being played in the main poker room, a different, about a 60-metre walk, 50-metre walk from where we are now. So we can't actually see, we couldn't actually see the 8 game from where we're seated, but we will find out.
And all that commotion in the back, that is the 10k event, day 1A bagging. So it might be a little bit down, a little bit loud down the microphone, I should say, or in the background. But we'll get back to the action here. So being folded around to the small blind, Masato finds their Queen 9 offsuit.
$141 players. Well, unless the board is, assuming the board is up to date, 141 players have bagged up day 1A of the main event as Masato makes the call.
So it's just a blind battle. Masato deciding to limp in from the small. And here comes the flop. It comes ace, deuce, 7, 2 hearts. No help to Masato's hand. The Queen 9. So I'd imagine he's going to check from small blind. He could also have a stab here against the big blind and potentially take it down. He's going to riffle a few chips in his right hand and come out with that stab I was talking about and see if he can take it away from Josh. Josh obviously not showing any strength pre-flop by just checking his option from big, so does elect to flick in a call. So there's a bit of 55k on the flop. Snap called off by Josh. 6 of spades on the turn. Masato's going to check now and shut down, and here comes Josh with a bet. I imagine that's probably going to get it done here, Ben.
Didn't waste any time.
No.
Josh there, firing out.
Does get it done, so Josh is going to bet 120k on the turn. Masato putting that hand straight into the muck, losing basically the bare minimum. A couple of comments, I should say, coming in on YouTube pertaining to Martinelli's call before. I might see if I can have a chat with him during the break and see where his head was at with making that call. I'm sure that he'll break the hand down about 500 times to me over a 5-minute window and tell me exactly what his thought process was to making the call there with the King-Queen high. Nonetheless, he is in the field of 11 remaining here, Ben, in the 25k, locking up $65,855 at the moment. Luke Martinelli on screen at the moment under the gun. Ace-5 offsuit.
He's getting very active now, Luke.
Yep. Usually he's going to fold the 10-8 of clubs. She's been pretty card dead, to be fair, Ben.
She has. She hasn't really had a whole lot to play with. Looking pretty composed, but she must be feeling a little bit frustrated inside.
Sure. And Masato going to flick in the call from the button, so it's Luke Martinelli against Masato. A couple of chip leaders going at it.
Pretty good flop for Luke. Of course, we don't know what Masato has here. We will get our RFID issues addressed.
Yeah.
But yeah, strong flop for Luke. He's top, and he's got the draw to the wheel.
So Luke Martinelli here with nut pair, nut kicker, and a gut shot to make the wheel. He's going to bet at 75k. Action back round to Masato, facing 75,000. To call on this board. Actually, I think one of the players pre-flop, it might have been Kai, actually had the 6-3 offsuit, would have flopped the joint. As the turn brings in the Badoogie now on the board, the Queen of Clubs, all offsuit. So let's see how Martinelli decides to play this one here. First to act, obviously, as Masato is on the button. Top pair, top kicker on the flop, decides to check the option on the turn when the Queen of Club hits. Masato. Action back round to him. It's going to check back the option. So it's going to check on the turn. Here comes the river. Brings in the 5 of clubs. So Luke Martinelli now making trips at the river. Pretty strong card for his hand. I'd imagine he is going to lead out here. Could also go for a little bit of a deceptive check raise if he thinks that maybe his opponent here, Masato, might try and bet him off it at the river. You bet the flop, shut down on the turn, and now he's picked up 3 of a kind, finds it 5s at the river. So let's see, he does. He's going to go for that play, so he's going to try and go for a check raise here for sure. Hopefully Masato, in Luke's case, decides to have a bluff at it. Obviously Masato could have the best hand here, but combinatorically I think Luke Martinelli has got this one locked up.
Of course, knowing that Masato is very aggressive, I think Luke figures there's a pretty good chance there's a bet coming, and here we go. How much is Masato firing out? It looks like a pretty decent sized bet there too.
Luke's going to be loving this spot, trust me. There's
That's
only a few hand combinations here that have this hand beat. He's blocking one of them.
Quite an overbet too.
Yeah. He's also blocking it too, so ace 3, 3, 6. Obviously the full house combinations, quad's not available because Luke's got a 5 in his hand. I think Luke would be very, very happy that Masato has bet 600k here. Essentially looking down at something like the 10th nuts. It's also a possibility that they could both actually have ace 5 here. That could happen as well. Maybe even like the ace 5 of hearts, which is the obvious only combination remaining with the 5 of hearts. And here it is. Here comes Luke Martinelli on cue, like I said. Was licking his chops when that 5 of clubs peeled off, and he's going to make it 1.7 million, and Masato putting it straight into the bin. And Luke's check raise at the river there, paying off in spades there, Ben. Picking up a bunch of chips.
Yeah, that was a beautiful spot for Luke there. And to see Masato overbet the pot too.
Yeah.
He was pretty happy to see that. Masato mucked instantly once that check raise came in.
It was like a gin card for Luke. I actually really liked his poise there at the river. He kind of like took his time, checked it, allowed his opponent to think that he didn't have much of it. But Luke had a plan, obviously, and he pulled it off perfectly. There, Ben Blasky.
Yeah, strategic use of the time bank.
Yes, very much
Yeah.
so. Good call. Fold around to the button. Josh is going to fold as well. Kai Tanaka here with the 4 deuce offsuit on the small blind. Believe it or not, Luke Martinelli gets a walk with the Queen 9. So you can probably hear all the commotion going on in the background. We are commentating this live on the floor on a 30-minute delay. So there's a bit of noise in the background. That's all the players in the main. Day 1A. They've got 200 runners. 141 of them made it through to day 2. They are bagging and tagging to come back on Thursday. I believe they're probably going to get somewhere in the vicinity of 750 runners. I've taken the overs on 750 runners. Ben, what was your line? 748, yeah?
Well, my original line, I mean, sort of this time yesterday, I had 722 pegged.
Right.
But I walked into the room this morning and saw what the numbers were looking like, and I'm starting to move up closer to that number starting with an 8.
Yeah, right. Fair enough too.
I think I said before that it's a terrific result for the staff here. They're also a little bit freaking out at the numbers. They weren't quite expecting this many, but what a good problem to have.
There you go. Kai Tanaka finds the ace-king suited. Sure, that'll work. On the button, Luke Martinelli in the small blind finds the ace-9 offsuit. That's good enough for him to elect to make a 3-bet to 325k. That's music to Kai Tanaka's ears, knowing that he's got ace-king suited in diamonds here. Heavily dominating that of Luke Martinelli's ace-9 offsuit.
Gives him a little look there.
He did. Did you see him stare over the chips there?
Yeah.
Getting a little count at the back of his head, trying to figure out what to do here. I'd imagine a 4-bet's coming in for sure. I reckon he might 4-bet this to, say, 800k, give or take. And I'm not sure what the raise was to, but we should find out shortly. And I believe, yeah, 800k on the nose too. Good shout by me. Little pat on my own back there as Luke Martinelli snap folds it, puts it straight in the bin. Got his hand caught in the cookie jar there for that 3-bet.
Well, look, if nobody else is going to pat you on the back, you've got to pat yourself on the back, don't they?
Well, I'm definitely not going to get one from Paul Curry, yeah?
That is true.
Yeah. Went across the street to get a whole headset, came back and set up the whole electronics here, just to try and use a third mic and get no credit for it, but that's all right. Each to their own. We're all friends here at the end of the day. So we're down to a field of 11 here. 98 entries. This is the 25k challenge here during the Aussie Millions Championship 2026, brought to you by Crown Bet. And if you haven't been to Crown Casino in Melbourne, Ben, it is a place to come.
Oh, look, it's just got that special feel, doesn't it? I mean, I'm sure you've spent many years here at the Aussie Millions, and
Yeah.
didn't quite feel the same for those years that it wasn't here. So to come back and, I mean, even just to walk in and smell that Crown smell.
It does have a smell,
It,
doesn't it?
it has
Yeah.
the particular perfume they use here, and it's just very familiar. And then, to walk into the room and see familiar faces, it's iconic.
Yeah, great shout. It's got everything you want here, Crown Casino. Obviously, you got the hotel, some high-end dining, high-end shopping. It's actually a very good cigar and karaoke bar actually upstairs from where we are.
Are you a karaoke? How's your voice? Are you a singer?
Oh, no, forget about me being a singer.
Myself as well.
Too much smoking when I was younger, I think. Ben's absolutely destroyed the voice, but I do enjoy the environment.
Yes.
And if not, I'll duck outside and have a cigar instead with a nice glass of whiskey on the rocks, I think.
Lovely.
So, players here playing for $652,670 up top. So that is a big chunk of change for anybody lucky enough to take down this bad boy.
So we've certainly seen Luke and Masato in particular have been really going after it this past half hour.
Kai Tanaka here picking up the pocket 10s here, Ben. He's going to pop it up and make it 100k to go. Luke's going to fold one of those 10s, 10-6 off. Round to Yuzi. Huang. He's got the ace-7 of hearts from the button. Got 17 bigs.
She's been a little card dead too.
Yeah,
she
has.
She's looking at this hand, and it must be looking quite
Like
pretty
aces.
for her at the moment.
Good call.
Could get herself in a bit of trouble here, but she's thinking about... There we go. There we go, and she's going to be called.
She's going to whack it, and Josh Hutchins going to get it out of the way. Kai, pretty simple decision to make a call here with the four-side pocket 10s. He's just asking for a count. But I'd imagine he's going to flick in a call here.
Yep, he'll make this call. And
see the good news here, 64% equity at the moment.
That's right, and Yuzi's tournament life will be on the line. There we go. Makes the call. Yuzi needing an ace or a couple of hearts.
Hearts, yep.
Nice for her.
All live. So pocket 10s here versus the ace-7 of hearts. Yuzi all in at risk. So here comes the flop. Can Yuzi find an ace or some hearts here? Otherwise, she might get eliminated. Here comes the flop, and the flop comes down 9, deuce 8. So no help for Yuzi at the moment. Needs to find an ace ball. Repeat 8 of diamonds on the turn, no help. So an ace and an ace only at the river. 3 remaining outs for her tournament career, and a repeat 8 at the river as well. So turn 8, river 8. And Yuzi's going to be eliminated here in 11th, picking up $65,855 as Kai increases his lead of chips there with the pocket 10s. Ben Blasky making a full house actually at the river.
Yep. So we're down to 10. And one step closer to a final table for the remaining players. I mean, really just a case for Yuzi there of being very card dead.
Yeah.
And finally, as I said, seeing a hand that must have looked like aces to her after so long being card dead, and shifted in. Unluckily, ran into the 10s of Kai Tanaka.
Comment coming in, any decent players on the other table? Just for you at home, we are calling this on a 30-minute delay. So we can't give you that information because we'll be essentially telling you in real time what's going on, as opposed to on the 30-minute delay to which we're commentating. So I'd have to tell you who was on the table 30 minutes ago, if that makes sense. But down to a field of 10. That number in the top right-hand corner will change shortly. And I believe after the next bust out, either on this table or the outer table, we'll be combining to make a final table of 9, to which we've been told they're going to play it all the way down to 6. But Paul Curry coming in saying they're going to play it to 9. So it looks like they might be going on a break here or joining the table up. We'll find out shortly.
I think they're going on a 15-minute break now, so we'll take a break as well.
There you go.
And when the players reconvene, we'll be back to play this down to the end of the evening.
This is the 25K challenge here at the Aussie Millions 2026, proudly brought to you by Crown Bet. We'll be back shortly.
Progress. It's relentless. Earned by pushing forwards through the setbacks and the wins, all for an opportunity that others might miss. Two worlds driven by performance, guided by data, insights, and feel. It's never just a move, it's a mindset. Because better never settles. Progress. It's relentless. Earned by pushing forwards through the setbacks and the wins, all for an opportunity that others might miss. Two worlds driven by performance, guided by data, insights, and feel. It's never just a move, it's a mindset. Because better never settles. Progress. It's relentless. Earned by pushing forwards through the setbacks and the wins, all for an opportunity that others might miss. Two worlds driven by performance, guided by data, insights, and feel. It's never just a move, it's a mindset. Because better never settles. Progress. It's relentless. Earned by pushing forwards through the setbacks and the wins, all for an opportunity that others might miss. Two worlds driven by performance, guided by data, insights, and feel. It's never just a move, it's a mindset. Because better never settles. Progress. It's relentless. Earned by pushing forwards through the setbacks and the wins, all for an opportunity that others might miss. Two worlds driven by performance, guided by data, insights, and feel. It's never just a move, it's a mindset. Because better never settles.
And you are watching the 2026 Aussie Millions, brought to you by CrownBet. This is the 25k challenge, and we are now down to 10 players. So 98 players, just a quick recap, 98 players ponied up $25,000 to enter into this whopping $2.3 million prize pool. And now the bubble has burst. We're in the money. 10th place will get $65,000. 9th place will get $75,000, and we head all the way up to 652. So high stakes, it doesn't get really any higher than this. We are playing down to a final table, so one more player busts, and they'll pack it up for the night, come back tomorrow, and we play for an enormous amount of money. Sitting with me is Josh Monk. We finally got him a microphone because we felt really bad for him. We thought we'll stop messing with him and we'll get him in the game properly.
Good to be with you, Paul. Calling down the action here in the 25k, like you said, as Hiu Nguyen has joined this feature table. He's the gentleman wedged between Luke Martinelli and Masato. So 5 players on this table, 5 on the outer feature table.
Well, there's 10k in between the next two payouts, so these guys will now start to position themselves for the big stuff, right?
Yeah,
they're not going to worry too much about the pay jump of 10. They're going to make moves now so they can start to maneuver up that leaderboard and impose themselves onto the top 3, which essentially means they earn more than $250,000.
Yeah, these chips having a lot of ICM value at this time, with actual dollars and cents. As we see a raise under the gun with the 9-7 of diamonds from Masato. Round to Kai, he's the gentleman there with the hoodie. Finding the ace-4 offsuit on the button. 3.8 million, or 53 bigs. 63 bigs, I should say, pardon me. He's going to fold. Round to Luke Martinelli, finding the Queen-9 offsuit here, Paul.
You can still hear some of the vibe in the main room. So we just to recap today also, we had the first day of the main event. A whopping 200 players in the first day, which surpasses all expectations. So day 1B tomorrow, day 1C the day after, and then we're back for coverage on Friday, where we pick up with the main event on day 2 when those fields converge. And then we take a run all the way to crowning a champion for 2026. Just before I was walking through the floor, and my old friend Tyron Cross, the 2010 Aussie Millions champion, stopped me and said, "It's good to see you, Paul." Now, I remember being the producer of that series,
right,
and the commentator, but on the day, I was the person that grabbed Tyron and said, "Come on, let's go for a walk," as soon as he'd won.
Okay.
So we went into the elevator together, and we were on our way down to sort of present him with everything, and he just had his hands on his head. He's quite a tall fella, you know, so I said to him, "How do you feel?" And he just said, "I can't stop smiling," and we still talk about it, you know, all these years later. So just goes to show you the romance never really goes away.
JH here, Josh Hutchins with the Jack 9 of hearts under the gun. He's going to pop it up and make it 120k to go. The blinds have gone up, 30k, 60k with a 60k big blind ante. Luke Martinelli getting out of the way on the button. Couldn't find the RFID reader to scan his cards. Nguyen, he's got a fold. Masato from the big blind. It's got that unknown hand at the moment. Having a little bit of difficulty finding the RFID reader today, Paul. A few couple unknown hands, but pretty good for the people watching at home, what they would do.
Well, the original webcasts that we did, you know, back in the days, and I'm not talking about 30 years ago, ladies and gentlemen, those of you that are younger than 30 years. When webcasts and live webcasts started, they basically didn't have RFID, so we were calling the cards as they were, and pros and co-commentators would take punts, and it kind of, in my view, almost made it a bit more, brought you to the table as a player.
Yeah.
And I think sometimes that helps the game, you know, in terms of development for the players at home to be sitting there guessing, and sometimes going through a reveal situation rather than knowing upstream before the cards are dealt. So 2 on the turn, not much here. Josh.
He fired the flop here, Josh, so just with the C-bet, he did put that raise in pre-flop, so You would have a range advantage here on the King 5 board. So he decided to come out with the C-bet. That's Josh that you are watching on the screen at the moment.
Well,
Kind of looks
Masato
like it.
called the flop bet, so this puts Josh in a situation where he's questioning whether he fires again, and that he does. The pot 450. Josh fires 250, so continuing to fire into Masato. And this time, see, it takes a couple of barrels to get rid of a good player, sometimes even 3. At this point, Josh takes a really nice hand and moves his chip stack up to 2.47 million. There you got Kai Tanaka, who's I've really been impressed by Kai's sort of stoicism through this entire series, especially in the last couple of sessions. Been very calculated, not stubborn. Really, really good to see. Really great to watch.
I completely concur with that one.
I would say that I'd like to see, I think he's going to really have a crack at this, the way he's playing. But of course, on the other table, there's some formidable stacks and players as well. We've got a close eye on that as well. And so tomorrow, once we lose one more player, we will bag up, put those chips in bags, and they go under high security, and we come back tomorrow and we start it all again as we get to that mountain of money that sits essentially about 1.3 million given away between the top 3, which is just a remarkable amount of money. It's life-changing money.
Absolutely. Adam Burke coming in there saying, keep up the good work, boys. And what are the payouts? I might see if I can get Matty Marshall to pin the payouts in the YouTube chat for those people at home. They are playing for $652,670 up top. Second will pick up $405,723. Just over $250,000 at $264,600. As we get back to the action here, down to a field of 10, like Paul Curry was referring to. This raise here by Huey Nguyen. Raised to 125k from the button, so small blind got out of the way, and Josh not going to continue with the 8-7 offsuit. Thank you very much for that, Matty. There are the prizes in the chat on YouTube for those people listening in.
Kai Tanaka sits atop at 3.7. Luke Martinelli, 2.8. Masato, reasonably steady, and same with Josh. So not an enormous amount of advantage here. Kai just with a little bit more than everybody else, but that can change very quickly. The quality of the field is exceptional. Cream has risen.
You can see that Joey Sandev from Adelaide is on that outer feature table.
He really played outstanding.
He's an absolute crusher.
So let's say stop 9. Did you restart 2 p.m.?
And that's Matty Wakeman, I think, out there as well on that outer feature table. So a couple of crushers that I know personally. I haven't won a hand off them ever, Paul Curry, so...
Might be why you're sitting next to me. Luke Martinelli with 7-3 of spades. Lets it go. Some would say sacrifice, Josh. Others would say this is my swim lane. Masato with 2.6, going to raise it up with Queen High. Now we're short-handed, so the ranges are wider. Kai Tanaka also with Queen High in a stronger position. Looks like he's going to look him up in the big blind and defend. So Masato slightly behind here. You can see by the percentages. Now, interesting, always more interesting when both players kind of miss, but Masato's picked up a pair of 5s here. Kai Tanaka checks. And as does Masato, we go to the turn. It is a Jack of Hearts. Masato with the lead. Action is on Kai. He checks again. As does Masato. And the river, an 8 of clubs. So now Kai Tanaka takes the lead in the hand. It goes check, check. So there's a reveal, and Kai Tanaka will take a nice little pot there and grow his lead just a little bit more to 3.9 million. The staff here are very multitasking. They can do almost anything. It's a bit scary sometimes when they multitask.
CK Lifetime coming in on the YouTube chat there saying, Jesus Monkey, if a hack like Martinelli can run this deep, he would have been a shoo-in if you entered. And then followed it up by saying, really nice of you to jump in the booth and give the others a chance at winning the money.
Yeah.
Appreciate that, CK.
I'm sure they're really relieved that you're here.
I would have absolutely no chance against
I
these
promise
crushes.
you,
I can tell you that much for free.
no one is sitting there going, oh, I'm so glad Paul Curry didn't play.
Spot on.
I feel like walking past the table and just pretending that they're scared, but that's just never going to happen.
Hiyu Nguyen here under the gun. Can't quite see his cards at the moment. They are over the RFID reader, so we might be having a couple of technical difficulties, I should say, with that particular seat.
Fold.
Sato's going to fold the 4-3 off, round to Josh. Picks up the Queen 5 offsuit on the button. Probably good enough to make a raise here. But elects to put it in the bid instead.
Notice that the player's always gandering over to the other table in the distance, wondering what's going on, because they know that one more player and they're going to reset to a final table. So it's almost a bubble in itself, or the final table bubble.
Sure. Talking about a couple of crushes right in front of us. Nick Oberman, Cale Burns. They're out there playing the 10K main event day one, which bagged.
Quite a contrast in hairstyles too.
Yeah. One's bald and the other guy's got the locks down to his back, yeah? Can't make it up. So
The later the night goes, the worse my humour gets. Flop comes 8-7 deuce. And Luke Martinelli's grabbed the lead with a pair of sevens. In with Kai Tanaka, who's been involved a lot now.
question coming in, maybe, Paul, for you. Are we bagging for FT or playing through
No,
tonight?
we are bagging up as soon as we bust one more player. And we're back tomorrow for the coverage of the final table as a reset. The turn, a 5 of diamonds. Action on Kai. Fires out again. Pot's 180. Kai's going to bet 75. Luke with the best hand.
Both have a gut shot here, obviously. They could make a straight with a 6, but Martinelli out with the commanding lead at the moment. And he brings in the 6 like on cue. So they both make a straight here to the 8. I swear I have not seen this hand, so the gut
That's been
shot,
happening all week.
the gut shot hits at the river, the 6 of clubs. And
As soon as you say what if, then it happens. Commentator's curse.
that's it. Kai here betting 150. And obviously Luke Martinelli is going to flick in a small raise.
And there is the chip count, 25k challenge, no limit hold'em. Considered by many as the high roller event really here
Yeah,
at the tournament, the
absolutely.
highest buy-in tournament. So 98 runners at $25,000 each gives you a prize pool of just over $2.3 million. And therefore you can say that the top 3 are going to get over $1 million combined. That's quite an amazing amount of money for a field of only 100 players, basically.
Yeah, incredible. It's actually funny because I was speaking to a couple of the big players thinking that this event might get, 30, 40 runners.
Yeah, that was the impression.
And they've absolutely dominated that. 98 entries in this event for just over 2.3 million. As Paul Curry was alluding to, back to the action here. We need to eliminate one more player before we will bag and tag and come back tomorrow for the concluding stages of this 25k challenge. Blinds here, 30k, 60k with a 60k big blind ante. This is hand number 138 of this feature event on the stream. Josh is going to pop it up, make it 120k to go from the cutoff. Folded all the way around to the big blind here. Hiyu Nguyen, 1.6 million or 27 bigs. And we've got a bit of an unknown hand here, Paul. Might have to talk to Matty Marshall as to why the case is that we can't quite see the cards at the moment. As you can see from the screen here, the cards are placed
Well, it
perfectly
might
over
be
the...
because I said, well, Josh Monk is joining me. We really don't need RFID. Surely he can tell us. No pressure.
I do have some pretty good poker intuition, but I obviously can't call the cards like this. But nonetheless, here we go. Flicked in a call from Hui. And the flop comes down. King 3, 6, 2 clubs. You first to act here. He's going to check his option from the big blind, round to Josh. Funnily enough, kind of looks a little bit like me, the same name. Got the beard going on and the longish hair. He's going to come out with a C bet on this flop. It's got about 80k, so action back round to you. Absolutely staring him down too. Have a look on his face. Doesn't believe it for half a second. And he's pulling some chips together here to make the call, which he does. Here comes the turn. Turn card brings in the 7 of diamonds, so pretty interesting hand, I should say, and card on the turn. Does bring in that 4-5 straight. Definitely a hand that's in he used range, or calling range from the big blind. He's going to check again and let Josh fire another barrel here. If Josh doesn't have any part of this here, I'd imagine he's going to check back the option here and take a free card off. But obviously we can't see his hand. And he does. He's going to check back his options, so can't imagine Josh has much here. Here comes the river. Brings in the Queen of Hearts here, Paul. So 4-5, the nuts on this particular board. Here I would imagine most likely has the best hand. It went check, bet, call on the flop, check, check on the turn. And let's see if he can come out with a bet here at the river. And here it comes, getting together some chips, puts in a column almost.
That's a sizable bet. The pot 490, looking like 425, and he's going to take it down.
Yeah, Josh. No part of that there. He's snap folded there at the river, Paul.
Some stats there for the players out there that are starting to develop sort of skills and understanding how these top pros think. They look at pre-flop aggression, voluntarily put your chips into the pot.
Yeah, the VPIP. Yep.
There's a stat for what kind of cereal you had for breakfast.
How many hours sleep you had. How many walks, how many steps you did for the day. I totally agree with you. Any edge that these poker players can get, Paul, they'll take, yeah?
Absolutely. Want to be tight on the Weet-Bix players because they've got stamina.
Yeah, that's it.
Oh, my goodness.
So approaching 12:30 local time into Tuesday. Down to the final 10 here in the 25k challenge at the Aussie Millions Championship 2026, brought to you by Crown Bet.
Playing down to 9 players tonight before we bag our chips and come back tomorrow. Roughly around, coverage will start mid-afternoon around 2:30. And then we will kick off a final table until we give away all the money. Action on Luke Martinelli with a suited connector on the button is going to raise it up. For our aspiring poker players, these are the hands that you saw them avoid during the time of the bubble, which is kind of sensible. These are the hands that they know they've got to invest some chips to see flops and often have to pay flop and turn bets.
Yeah, perfectly.
They're very draw-heavy hands, aren't
absolutely. Well said, Paul. So we get round to the button. Luke Martinelli popped it up with a 7-6 of spades, and Sato's going to defend from the big blind. The King 6 offsuit. Equities in the bottom left-hand corner of your screen. Pot is 330k. This is event number 10. Well, pardon me, event number 9, I should say, of 25k challenge here. No limit hold'em. The flop does come down a couple of aces and a 4-2 clubs. Sato's got to check from the big blind. Is Martinelli going to fire out on this flop a bullet? He does. First barrel in for Luke Martinelli, bets at 75k. Sato could decide here to flick in a call and try and peel one off on the turn, which he does. I like this call here. Turn card bringing in a deuce of diamonds. No help to Luke Martinelli, who might actually shut down here unless he decides to go for a secondary barrel. Masato checking his option to start off with. So action back on Luke. Pre-flop aggressor and barreled the flop here of ace-ace-4. Found the deuce of diamonds on the turn. He's going to come for a second barrel here, Paul.
Some of these players now starting to show the real signs of putting pressure on. We were seeing a lot more checks and free cards during the bubble play, but now the big game is playing out. Until they want that $650,000 first prize, they've got to make sure that they put their other players under immense pressure, and that's what they're doing. The blinds are 30-60 now. Pots are getting bigger. The short stacks will start to move a little bit wriggly more, but they're all very experienced, and to be fair, most of them have got enough chips here. Most of them are comfortable, so well above 30 big blinds, which is in a really great place. They're going to pick their spots.
Yep.
But it doesn't take a lot for it to spiral.
As we saw with Cal Burns the other night, actually, who had, I think, 80 bigs at one stage, Paul Curry, and finished fourth in that event. A couple of sick ones, too.
I'm sure when he watches back this footage, he'll be very appreciative that we brought it up.
Yeah, good call.
Sorry, Cale. I did see him this morning, to be fair, and he and his partner and their beautiful little girl. And I did ask him, I said, how's your stamina? You know, how do you do it, Cale? I've known him for a long time. You only see players sporadically, you know, once here and there, but it was great to see him. And he said to me, look, I'm tired, you know, like I said, how do you do it? You keep going, you just keep working and work your game. So there is no real secret behind it all. It's hard work, it's routine, it's good practice and well prepared, so that you're almost reflex-like at the table when you're tired.
Yeah.
And that is it. You know, everybody's looking for that crystal ball, that answer to the how do you do it.
Yeah.
But these things, we say, you know, 98 players, 10 to go, 25 grand, couple of days. That sounds kind of loose and easy, but it's really hard. Long days of really, really hard. I was just talking during the break to a couple of the players. Josh was one of them. And they were both looking at me going, we hope this doesn't go too much longer. We want to bag up because we're really tired.
Yeah.
These guys are exhausted and they want to play their best, and their best isn't when they're tired. So it's really difficult. One small lapse in concentration, one misstep, a bet, you know, could tilt them or they could spill, and we've seen that time and time again. That's what this game is all about, high stakes pressure as well.
Well said, Paul Curry. I totally agree with that. I mean, if you think about it, the next person to bust here picks up 65,855, and up top is 652,000. So it's 10 times as much money if you bust now as opposed to at the top. So they're using all of their brain power to try and figure out how to navigate through these players and take down that top prize of 652,000 Australian dollars.
Yeah. Luke Martinelli opens with ace-5 and he's walked into Kai Tanaka with ace-10. So this could get interesting if an ace drops onto the board. It is under the gun versus the big blind defending. Good place to conceal your hand, and that's exactly what Kai's done by calling. So let's see what happens.
Just
the
ace in the
flop,
window.
and wow, top two for Kai Tanaka. So Luke with a pair of aces, but well behind.
Luke obviously can hit backdoor spades or a backdoor 3-4 combo to make a wheel.
Yeah, Luke could be feeling pretty good about his hand at the moment, but he doesn't know what Kai's sitting on. So let's see how Kai plays this. Now, Kai's out of position. So action back on Kai now, who's now going to do a little bit of Hollywood and think a little bit, but he's got a big hand. He calls. Hasn't released the trap yet. The turn, a 4 of spades.
Huge card for Luke Martinelli. Picks up now the nut flush draw with a gut shot to make that wheel.
That is. Wouldn't surprise me if we saw a little bit more aggression now from Kai Tanaka, not having a spade in his hand. 490 in the middle. Looks like he's going to bet half of that. 275, pretty close.
Martinelli with a side eye. I don't know if you saw that, Paul. He's given the absolute side eye there.
I did. That pot now 765. Don't think Luke's going anywhere. Just going to call. We're going to see a river. Pot's now just over $1 million. And the river is a 5.
Wow,
of
what a brutal card for
hearts.
Luke.
Oh, my goodness.
So Luke Martinelli picking up aces and 5s at the river, but Kai
Both
Tanaka
with-
from the big blind has ace-10.
Both players with aces up. This could get very expensive for Luke. Now, how does Kai play it? There's $1 million in the middle.
Luke Martinelli actually can't give Kai much credit for a hand in the big blind either. He didn't re-raise pre-flop with the ace-10, so that hand is very concealed, like you said, Paul Curry. Hence the reason for why Luke Martinelli is going to bet out here. The 4-liner is in and the flush draw is down.
Luke bets 850,000. You just saw Kai lean back in his chair. That bet, I think, surprised him. And it might even entice him to just call with the best hand, because I'm pretty sure he thought
Flicks
it
and a
was
call.
that's exactly what he does. So there you can see he turns over 2 pair. Luke definitely thought he was going to win the hand by turning over, and then resigns and says, wow. Now Kai Tanaka probably would have raised in most circumstances, but the bet on the river stopped him. So
Yeah.
in the end, a very big pot going to Kai Tanaka, who now extends over 5.2 million in chips, and he's well on his way. I've liked his game through today's sessions. He's been very consistent. He's been stoic, and he thinks through every hand. I've also seen that from Joe, who was on the final table before, so he's still in the field. And I've really enjoyed both their games, so I think they'll both run very, very deep.
Yep. Good call, Paul. Luke Martinelli now down to 31 bigs, just under 2 million in chips, 1.855. But don't you worry too much about Luke Martinelli. He knows how to play one big blind all the way up to 500 big blinds. He's an elite poker player, one of the greatest minds in the game.
Remember, there's 5 players here, but there's also 5 on another table, so
Ooh.
we're 10 players.
Huey Nguyen here just pick up the aces here. Pocket rockets under the gun. Bit of a dream spot for him here.
Raising it up, blinds 30, 60,000. Let's see how much he makes it.
Sato straight into the muck with his hand.
Makes it 120 to go. And Kai's got pocket 5, so I don't think he's going anywhere. He's in the small blind. And it looks as though he's going to make the call. Yep. So aces versus 5s. This could get interesting. So Kai with 5.2 million in chips, and Huey Nguyen with 1.8.
Yeah, Huey Nguyen here with the aces versus the 5s. Can Kai find a 5 ball? Good friend of mine. There it is, a 5.
Wow.
On the flop.
Jack
sure.
7-5, that could bust aces, and there's no doubt about it. There's still lots to play here. Let's see.
So Kai not only running good, but also hitting the cards he needs. He's got 86 bigs, the chip lead at the moment on this feature table. He finds a set of 5s on the flop. Huey Nguyen here with the big ones, the aces, the nut hand pre-flop. It's going to come leading straight into Kai, who obviously is licking his chops here a little bit after flopping a set.
Could this be the hand?
Could be the hand, Paul. Honestly, this is going to be very difficult for Huey to get out of the way here with aces. He does have backdoor clubs draw too, so if a club peels off on the turn, could be fireworks here.
Smooth call with the set. Turn to 4 of hearts. So Kai Tanaka will check again with a monster hand here. As you can see here, he's a 95% chance of taking this out.
Yeah.
The only thing that can save Hugh is an ace, and there's only 2 of those in the deck, assuming we get to a turn card, river card, beg your pardon.
Huey's going to check back. I like this check here. And here comes the river.
Wow, concealing heart, and look at that, he fills up. So now full house.
Yeah. Dreadful card, though, for Huey, who might not believe that his opponent here has a jack, so he might have to call here with the aces, depending on the bet size. Here comes Kai.
He's going to count out something healthy, so 570 in the middle. Looks like he's going to go for value.
Do you bet there 525, maybe even a bit more?
Well, it might be a little bit more than pot size. We're waiting, and it's called very quickly. Bet 600, and it is called. So
Yep.
aces cracked. Yeah, Hugh nodded, shows him the aces, and Kai just sort of nods as if to say, yeah, I kind of thought that might happen.
Yeah.
That's just going to make you feel much better.
No doubt. Have a look at that. Up to 104 bigs, Paul.
1.77 million in the pot, and that is 2 massive pots in a row. Kai Tanaka, 6.2 million, starting to really stretch that lead out. And you're starting to see both Luke and Hugh now sort of drifting down to more or less, you know, there was originally the averages were around 30 to 40 big blinds. Now they're down to sort of 19. So the pressure's starting to mount as the stacks emerge, and we are short-handed, so they're playing lots of hands.
Talking about support here for Kai in the chat. The Japanese going absolutely hammer and tong in the chat there. Might have to bring in a translator. But up to 104 bigs here. Kai Tanaka.
Yeah.
Stemming from Japan.
All for our viewers in Japan, I must say, Kai Tanaka has really impressed me today. There's you know, world-class quality in this field, but he has been really consistent and uber impressive. So it wouldn't surprise me if we saw him run all the way and very, very close.
So
anything can happen though. So Josh will have something to say about it, I have no doubt.
Yep.
He looks sort of like a Mediterranean movie star dressed like that a little bit, to be honest.
Straight out of the movies.
Yeah. He doesn't look tired. He told me he was tired, but he doesn't look it. Whereas I'm not tired and I look tired, which is really weird.
The opposite.
That's what happens with age.
He went down to 17 bigs here, Paul. He's hurting a little bit. Needs to find a hand. Just had those aces cracked to Kai, who took a pretty decent sized pot off Luke Martinelli and then backed it up with flopping a set of 5 straight into the aces of that of Hui.
Tanaka, very famous actor from Japan. Well, if that is the case, he's acting like a poker professional right now.
Yeah, I might have to look that up.
And he's doing very well. We will look that up. So arigato to our friends from Japan who are keeping us in the loop. It helps us when you type in English.
Very good there with the arigato, yeah. Well played, Paul. Yeah. Josh Hutchins here under the gun. 2.1 million, 35 bigs. It's going to come in for a raise here to 120k. Kai with second worst hand in Hold'em pre-flop, the 8-3 off. It's going to go into the muck. Luke Martinelli, 6-5 of diamonds. Kind of love these little suited connectors, but I'd imagine he's probably going to put that into the muck, which he does from the button. And Hui Nguyen here picking up the pocket jacks. And I imagine with 17 bigs here, 990, he's probably going to put in a sizable 3-bet, if not the rest of his stack. Finding a very premium hand.
Pot's 270. Hugh with 990 and ounces all in. Over to Masato.
Who picks up pocket 9s here. So jacks into 9s and an unseen hand that was raised under the gun from Josh. So Masato is going to put his hand... Well, no, the cards are still over the RFID reader there, Paul. I couldn't quite see that. So Masato with a decision to make here with pocket 9s. He is heavily dominated against the jacks, but he also has Josh to act after him, who did raise under the gun. So
he won't like this situation. He likes his hand, but he doesn't know how to rate Josh's raise.
Yeah, I think you have to put the pocket 9s here in the bin.
He doesn't like it at all, but I can see him going in the bin.
Yeah, very difficult spot. Yeah. And he does elect to fold. So round to
very
Josh.
Unhappy about it, but he should feel pretty good. Look, Josh throwing him in, and later on I'm sure he'll be relieved when they share the story. The aggression frequency, Luke Martinelli at the top of that, and Hugh Nguyen with 40%. They're all showing signs of aggression. In other tables we've seen almost like a dip at 2 or 3. It's 2 or 3 table captains. The rest are very, very low in their stats. All players are looking over at each other's tables, just waiting to see. Now remember, play could stop and we don't lose a player at this table, but essentially you've got 2 tables of 5 now, so it could happen. So they're almost always looking over because they really are a very small group now. And one player will take home $65,000, and the rest will come home. Will come into Crown Melbourne tomorrow to continue this wonderful tournament.
So we are on the final table bubble, as Paul was saying. I'll come back tomorrow and polish it off. Kai Tanaka here picking up the two-side, pair of fours under the gun. He's going to raise it up and make it 120k to go. Masato in the small blind. He's the gentleman there with the red shirt on. Has played pretty solidly, Masato, all day. I believe that Masato's also from Japan, so could be a bit of a battle of the Japanese here. Masato versus Kai. Which is good to see that international contingency making their way over to Australia here to compete in the Aussie Millions Poker Championship 2026, brought to you by Crown Bet. A 3-bet from Masato to 375k from the small blind. So action background to Kai here, who's going to elect to flat and see a flop, which he can afford with over 100 bigs.
And some implied odds here, knowing that if he
flops another set,
flops a set here, he might take out the final table bubble.
Flops another
my
set.
goodness! Sometimes you just know when you're running good. You invest, and he's flopped gold here. Of course, we still don't know what Masato has, so he still could be behind, but the chances are at the moment he's not. So Kai with a monster.
Masato's got to check there with his index finger on the top of his hand, and Kai flopped another set. So 5s into 4s now.
And he's going to lead with it. And look at this, straight away Masato gets away from it. So he dodges a bullet here by outflopping maybe Kai. They're not playing that passively, but he's growing that stack, 6.7 now. And you can see now the other players are just looking over and watching. It's 5 and 5. Danny McDonough sort of explaining to everybody how it works.
Also, I'm not sure I can be the last 9, so.
I think they're talking about a reset or restart time for tomorrow there, Paul.
Yes, correct. So now the players all but assume they're all coming back tomorrow. Of course, one of them isn't. And then once they confirm that time and everybody's comfortable, they have a say. They're allowed to say to the tournament director, we'd prefer it this time, etc. Of course, when you're ponying out 25 grand, you might have some choices.
Well said. You'd hope so, right?
I would hope so.
Yeah. I want to come back tomorrow at 7 p.m, sure.
Oh, sorry,
Yeah.
and a foot massage and a coffee. There'd be a list. You wouldn't want me to be one of these guys. I'd be very high maintenance. Masato with ace-jack of diamonds on the button. Not going to get a lot of credit for that hand because we are short-handed. This is when you get paid for the big hands. Kai Tanaka with another.
So he's gone 5s.
My goodness.
Set 4s.
And look at this.
Set.
Did he just
Pocket
move all
6s.
in?
And he's
He
moved
did.
it all in.
He's moved all in. He's playing this differently, and he's putting Masato to the test. 1.6 million, 26 bigs. Oh my goodness gracious me. He is just putting the hammer down now. He's saying, are you going to be the final table bubble boy? That is big stack poker. That is really an interesting change. I love this guy's game. He's gone from one extreme to the other, almost conservative. We haven't seen this from him. He's now applying lots of pressure because he's got so much chips, and he's now showing what he can do with it.
Yeah, well said, Paul. Tough spot here with the ace-jack of diamonds. I think he's probably going to flick it in and make the call, which he does right there.
Oh,
so
my
Kai
goodness.
Tanaka, pocket 6s. Can he find another set? If he does, it would be 5s flopping a set, 4s flopping a set. Let's see what happens with the 6s.
And the reality is he need only dodge an ace and a jack or
course.
a fistful of diamonds and he might take him out anyway. So let's see how this goes.
So
Kai Tanaka with all the momentum, all the chips. Is it going to be the one?
Masato here could be the bubble boy for the final 9 or the feature table as the board
Oh,
comes
my
queen
goodness,
6. He
he
flops
is.
another set, but
But
Masato does have a gut shot to make the straight here.
yeah,
So needs to find a king ball.
Kai Tanaka continues to.
Can't believe he's flopped another set there, Paul.
He's
Turn card brings in the 4 of diamonds. No help. He needs to find a king and a king only. 3 outs, top right-hand corner of your screen. King is the only card in the deck to save Masato, and a repeat queen.
That is it. So we will lose in 10th place. Masato Yokosawa. He becomes the final table bubble boy. and he is eliminated and will take home $65,855. And look at the sort of wry smiles on some of the players' faces. Luke Martinelli, rather handsome fellow with really good hair. That smile's been there all day. I'd like to say that.
Yeah,
I know,
good
Luke,
call.
you're listening, and I know that you've got this very, I would almost call it a Friends look about you. If you watch Friends, you'll know what I mean.
Yeah. The Chandler Bing, yeah?
Yeah, the guy that'll kill you, but you'll still love him.
Yeah, Chandler Martinelli, yeah? Chandler Martinelli.
Wow, now look at that.
Oh, that's too funny.
So we got 9 players now, and
Yeah.
the stream tomorrow will begin at around 2:30, just after. So we're on a delay, because for all of those that are asking, we're on a delay about 30 minutes because we can't broadcast live because we're on the tournament floor. So as soon as these players, they're bagging up the chips now and getting ready and counting, and they're going to do all of the official stuff. Smiles all round for those, and we're going to come back tomorrow mid-afternoon, and we're going to play till we give away that first prize of $652,000. This is Josh Monk. My name is Paul Curry. We've got Matt, who's the production man, who's ready to go home and have a bit of sleep. And we'd like to say a big thank you to everybody for the coverage today, and a really big effort from Crown. You've joined us at the 2026 Aussie Millions, and what can I say? Brought to you by CrownBet. Fantastic job. We'll see you tomorrow.
Progress. It's relentless. Earned by pushing forwards through the setbacks and the wins, all for an opportunity that others might miss. 2 worlds driven by performance, guided by data, insights, and feel. It's never just a move, it's a mindset. Because better never settles.
CrownBet is back in the game. Built for the big moments in racing and sport. From a name you know. Bet with CrownBet today.
Chances are you're about to lose.